Hey, good evening, Stunthangar crowd. It's Rusty again, Friday night again. Didn't think we were going to make it tonight because my internet's been down all day, as well as my whole cable system, but managed to get it back up and running. Had to do a full system restore on my computer, which took about 3 hours, but got it in just under the wire a few minutes ago. It came back to life, so here we are. And as usual, this is the Stunthangar Hangout, where we talk about aero modeling, primarily control line, but we talk about any other kind of modeling or anything you want to do with tools, general fun or whatever, as long as it's living room safe for pretty much. Being Friday night, will might forgive me if we might drop an F-bomb or two, but in any case, the link as usual is posted in the chat box. If you're watching on YouTube, it's to the right of the YouTube video window, and also in your notification bell on your YouTube channel if you are subscribed to the Stunthangar YouTube channel, and also on stunthangar.com under live streams at the bench. New thread every night when we go online. I post it there too. So if you can get in, come join us live, and we'll show each other what we've been doing. I've been working on the Cardinal a little bit. Tried to go flying last Sunday, but didn't get to tell most of our regular crowd about it. We had some new folks come in, so I saved some things I've been doing on my winter build project, the Cardinal, to show in case some of our regulars show up tonight. And I'll just sit here and hang out until I get here. I'm ready to just chill now. It's Friday, and I got flying plans. Sunday looks like the optimum day, but both Saturday and Sunday are pretty equally beautiful flying days, it appears. So come tell me what you've been doing in shop, or tell me what I've been doing right or wrong on my build. I think my buddy Wayne just sent me some pictures. He's been building sailplanes lately. I think he's building some for other people, but we got a visitor dropping in. Who have we got here? This is, oh, George. George from Colombia, South America. Good evening, George.
How are you? How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. There you go. Now I've got your picture.
Yeah.
Been doing anything for fun since we last met?
A little less. Just let me show you. I'm fixing the nose of my airplane.
Oh,
it's just aluminum.
Yes.
Aluminum, because I saw that the bolt loose. They become loose when the engine starts.
Yeah.
And I put these two pieces of metal.
Okay. I understand on both sides. Yeah. So that'll prevent it from compressing the wood and coming loose. Yeah, that's a good idea. And that's aluminum being pretty light too. I usually put aluminum strips down, but I've never put a fully shaped nose section on like that. But that ought to hold good and tight and keep that nose.
Yeah, because I think it is more easy to make these U shapes than four pieces of.
Is that, tell me, is that wrapping around the fuselage, or is that two pieces, separate pieces? If you get it in the light right, I can tell, but the light was kind of.
The fuselage? The fuselage, you mean?
Yes, on the nose, the aluminum. Is that a one wraparound piece, or is that two separate pads?
Two separate.
Okay, I can see now. Pieces. Okay, now that I got it into light, when I saw the glare, I thought it wrapped around for a minute. That would have been kind of hard to do, but yeah, that's a pretty good nose piece. And Terry joins us. Hey, Terry.
Hey, good evening.
We missed you the other night. I saved all my.
Yeah, I couldn't get on.
It was full.
And then it was full. Well, when I first tried to get on, I kept getting bumped off, but I caught it on the replay. It was very good, and I enjoyed the gentleman who puts up the windy videos.
Yeah, Paul Taylor.
Paul, yeah.
And on Stunthangar, if you want to look him up, or on YouTube, he's called on YouTube. He's called CL Guy, or
right, CL Guy, right? Yeah. I subscribe to his
Paul
thing.
Taylor. Yeah,
nice man.
Yep, he is. I told him I appreciated him putting all those videos up, because that's endless hours of information.
Oh, I play them when I'm working, and I just love it.
Yeah. I was watching him build the Cardinal wing, since that was what was at the top of my brain recently.
Gotcha.
And, so that's helpful. And I think that's pretty close to the same wing that's in the box.
I think so. But I had difficulties with the fuselage, the balsa wood not matching the plywood doublers, much like you mentioned.
I managed to get it all fit up, though. I'll show you the pictures in a little while.
I'll wait till the guys come on. I got mine together too, but I had to patch in a bunch of wood and stuff.
Yeah, right before you came on, George was showing me the plane he's building, and he's at about the same place we are with our fuselages, and he has reinforced his engine area on both sides with aluminum plate. And
oh wow, yeah.
So he was just showing us that before you came in. There it is.
Let
me click on it.
Yeah, I got him locked in now. Yeah, very nice. Aluminum on both sides too.
Yes, very nice, because in my other airplane, bolts become loose in a few flights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Compresses the wood. Yeah, and that metal will keep it from compressing the wood so bad.
Yep.
And you've got it epoxy. You put it on with epoxy. Epoxy glue.
Yeah, epoxy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ron Haas just joined us from the YouTube side. Says he's coming down to the Southeast Stunt and Fun and Palmetto, Florida on November 4th and 5th, maybe, question mark. That's Ron Haas.
Well, give him my number. Where is he coming in Florida? Maybe we could rendezvous and fly or something.
Maybe he'll post that up in a minute. Yeah, we had a little different crowd on Monday night. That was pretty good. And a little different for me, because the conversations were a little different. That's always great. Mix it up.
Oh,
but
no,
I missed you. I missed you and Wally. I saw Wally trying to get in a minute ago.
Yeah, Wally was traveling, I guess, last week. During last Monday, he was driving. But I couldn't get on, and I had trouble even watching live. I had to wait until after it was over, and then when Sparky published the video.
Was it too choppy?
Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't load, and it was almost like there was a moderator clicking me off, but we don't use moderators on our chat.
No, just me.
Well, you got your hands full with us.
Yeah.
Keeping our gang group.
No, but you know what? It's processing that video at the same time it's recording it, and it's two separate processes.
I get
and even after the show's over, it's several hours before the first hour of the show is appended to the beginning of it.
Oh, I get it. I know. I'm very familiar with how it goes.
Yeah. Oh, Ron says he lives 30 minutes from Palmetto, about south of Tampa.
South of Tampa. I'm on the other coast. I'm straight across. Hey, Wally.
Good evening, guys. Good to be back here.
Wally, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Rusty. How you been?
What's the average distance from coast to coast? Like the beeline, how long is that across Florida?
It's probably 125 miles, 130 miles. I don't know.
Okay, that's not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. Maybe it's a little further. I don't know. I don't drive it very much, but I fly it. And for me, it's 55 minutes.
Yeah.
flying my friend's Baron. It's 55 minutes from the airport west of Jupiter over to Tampa, St. Pete.
Right.
But you can drive it. It's a nice drive, a little boring.
50 miles. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're gathering here. We got 4 of us online. And I was just saying we got squeezed in here tight on Monday night. We had all 9 windows filled for a long time. Gerald was
That's
here.
good.
I seen
was here. George was here. Charles was here. And then Paul Taylor, CL guy that posts all of Wendy's videos on YouTube, was here.
Yeah, I wish I could have come in. Missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, Terry said you were on the road.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I just got in here about a skin of my teeth tonight. My broadband service has been down all day long. And then I had to run a system restore and managed to get everything back right before it was 9:30 when I was finally getting the green light to go.
Wow, yeah.
Evidently, when the cable went down, it corrupted, some files in my computer.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
I do a full system image twice a week, so it's never a problem. It just takes a few hours to reinitialize it. And truthfully, I don't know whether it was the Macrium Reflect program that I use for doing that now or the old Acronis, but one of them, it corrupts pictures as it goes along, and I've noticed some of my older pictures have been corrupted and can't be viewed. So I don't know if any of that could ever be restored, but
it might be able to. But you need somebody way more skilled than me.
Yeah, and they're nothing but pictures by a hack with a point and shoot anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I like those photos. And your wife by the old tractor, man, that's a classic.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
That's a beauty. Well, I owe you one of my wife, so I'll get one. I'll go in the house when we have a break. I'll bring a picture out. I'll show it to you.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Michael's joining us from Colorado.
Hey, Mike.
Good to see you.
Hey, boy. What's happening in Colorado?
Morning, Jorge, or evening, Jorge.
How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing? I hadn't seen you in a long time.
I think, yes. Me too.
Yeah, y'all were both here on Monday night.
Yeah.
So what you doing tonight, Mike?
Not too much. Trying to get done catching up on school stuff and trying to get a little bit done on both these airplanes. I'm going to try to get them with gusto here pretty quick and get them done. See if they.
I've been out to the shop. I've been out to the shop about 4 or 5 times this week to fix the twister, and every time I walk into the shop, I walk straight to the Cardinal and start screwing with it.
Yeah. It's more fun to build new than repair the old, man.
No kidding. But I got to fly that Cardinal that twister on Sunday. So I better get on the ball. And the fuel tank's bent. I got to straighten that shit out too.
So,
what a pain.
What'd you do to your twister, man?
Oh, I went out flying last weekend. I guess it was on last Sunday, and just to see if I could fly, get my legs under me, and I wanted to see if I could get the source of the fuel leak around the Venturi spotted and fix that and get a fuel time on the plane so I'll know how much to gas it when I get to Huntersville. But after being lame on my hip for so long, I didn't have the strength to control the plane, and I kept stepping in towards it. When it would pull out, it was like 12, 15 mile an hour wind, and enough to pull me towards it. And I finally pancaked it at the bottom of a square, inside square, and broke the prop, got dirt all in everything. But I did find the source of the leak right before that flight. It had not showed it up on 2 test runs. And then when I went to fly it to get a time on it, it was doing it. And so Wayne called me back over when I was walking out to the lines, and sure enough, there was a ring of fuel roiling around the bottom of the Venturi and spilling off. So It's just coming out of the Venturi. I'm gonna take it apart, maybe put a new spray bar in it and Permatex it back together.
Yeah, Permatex it and you'll seal it up.
Yeah. I don't have any of the anaerobic Permatex, but I'm just gonna put what I got on it. It'll last long enough to get me
Well, I
through.
just saw a message from Charles. I didn't get a
Yeah.
chance to read it.
Hey, Charles.
Oh, there he is. Hey,
Hey,
Charles.
Charles.
Hello, Charles.
But that's what happened. So,
Hey, Jorge.
so now
How are
it's
you?
got a broken prop and a bent tank, and I just got to get it back together before Sundays, because that's the next time we're going to go practice and test and tune. It's the last window of opportunity before Huntersville, because that's next Friday, and the weather goes south on Tuesday with a front moving through. It'll be cool and pretty, but it's going to be windy. So Sunday it is.
Yeah, we've had a wind down here, man. It's been windy.
Yeah.
How come it's so windy everywhere? It's been like that here all week long. It's been crazy.
It's just the way the weather moves through here. It's about normal for where I live. And by windy, it's not that much. They'll forecast like 5 or 6, but when you get out to the wide open field, it's usually 8 to 12 out there. So that's pretty much what I get used to. But I just couldn't. I didn't have the strength to hang on to the twister pulling out in the gusts, and I just let it pancake. So it bent the tank and broke the props. That's just, and it's all dirty. So hopefully I won't have to take the engine off and just clean it up, fix the Venturi, and be ready to go. Straighten the tank out. I might actually have another tank that'll fit on it. But
that might be the better idea anyway. Then
neither one of them is neither one of them is the 1/2 ounce larger size that I want, but they're 4.5, so they'll have to do. I'm just going to have to get that plane where I can one flip it, run out to the handle, pick it up, and fly it, and not have to screw with it on the line, burning fuel while I'm messing around.
What engine you got on that? I forgot.
That's an FP40.
Well, that FP should be able to flip and start on the first or second crank. They're usually pretty good starters.
It will when I put my electric starter on it. Yeah,
electric starter will go right on.
But not having to needle it.
That's all I use.
That's where I don't want to waste any time. I want the engine to run the same every time I crank it. Like the guys with the $500 engines do.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
I got a 40-year-old $30 eBay engine, and I want it to behave like a. It is what it is. Looks like I need to slow my bandwidth down. I'm a little out of sync here. Let me knock it back. See where we are.
Yeah, Frank, good deal.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey.
How's that eaglet doing?
Well, I'm ready to fill in some of the imperfections and cover
You're
it.
looking good, man.
Hey, it looks good. Sweet job.
Thanks.
Hey, I saw you last week flowing a bunch of CA in all those plywood joints. Let me give you know, Goldberg perfected the die cutting of those plywood sides, and how he did it is he used a combination of alcohol and water steam because it reduces the boiling temperature, and they steam the wood, and that's how they were able to die cut plywood. But what that steaming does is it makes it so that the CA doesn't penetrate real well. So before you cover it, I would get some tight bond glue and get in there with some aliphatic resin and paint those joints in that fuselage, and it'll never come apart.
Yeah, okay.
Because the CA is too brittle, it doesn't seem to penetrate the joints like it should.
You gonna do 3-channel on that, Frank?
I'm doing 4.
4, yeah, it's got ailerons, right? You got the ailerons.
Yeah.
Beautiful flying
microphone says it's turned off, but I can hear you, so I guess
there you go.
I guess it's wrong on my side.
What's going on?
My computer says your microphone is turned off, but I can hear you, so I guess it's no issue.
Yeah. We seem to be a little choppy tonight.
Yeah, I just slowed my bandwidth down, and it's still choppy. usually that'll smooth it out. But Monday night I was cooking. I had it turned up to and it was smooth and clear.
Well, looks like it's coming along.
Yeah, it's
good
a
there,
nice
Frank.
looking plane, Frank.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Good job.
Thanks.
That's such a nice flying airplane too. It's a great size and just a good flyer.
Yeah, I actually have one of those kits in the basement here.
Oh, those are good kits.
Yeah, did y'all, you guys that watched the rerun, did y'all notice I had the focus on Frank a lot of the night working on that plane as it came along.
Yeah.
It really grew in
good.
front of us.
Yeah, it was good. It's good.
It's turning out pretty good.
Bandit was here Monday night too, I think. Dave Fountain.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about the Cox engines. Amazing.
He is, yeah. He's an A&P, so he's pretty
I picked up on that.
Educated.
Yeah, us airplane pushers, we love A&Ps as our friends.
Yeah. Let's see if I got this text file on my desktop I read. It's the Airline Mechanics Credo. Former Airline Mechanics Credo. We the willing, led by the ungrateful, have been doing the impossible for so long with so little that we are now qualified to do anything with nothing at all.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it. That
Cool.
about sums it up, man. That's good.
Yeah.
So what is AP? That airline pilot or what?
That's airframe power plant.
Correct.
Mechanic.
Yeah, airframe and power plant.
Yeah, they're mechanics.
Yep.
Or technicians, I should say.
Yep.
And engineers. Technicians and engineers.
What they charge, you could call them doctors.
Yeah. Dan Banjock is an A&P.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Is he a machinist?
Yeah.
I think that's
Not by
one of
trade,
his many things,
just by
but he's
hobby.
an A&P, and
Maybe he is by trade. No, he's an A&P by trade, but by hobby he's a machinist. And my buddy Wayne is a former or retired field and crash investigator.
Yep.
Oh, was he with the NTSB?
No, he was with the FAA.
Oh.
He's got a lot of interesting stories. He did Jimmy Buffett's pilot's plane crash. Lots of other fairly well-known.
I'll bet he'd
anyway.
I'll bet he'd have some stories.
Yeah, well, he says 90% of all the plane crashes are caused by too much oxygen in the tank and not enough gas.
Lack of pilot skills, I'd say.
Well,
how about that Spitfire, Wally? What a shame.
Part of pilot skills is knowing to put gas in your tank before you take off.
That's right. Yeah, that's that was a bad deal, Terry.
Yeah, the Spitfire has that small rudder, and they've got those Merlin or Rolls-Royce motors in there. And when you whack the throttle like that, that plane's going right, and you're not doing nothing about it.
Yeah, it's that. I don't know if you read my reply, but
I did.
Yeah,
you're right on the money.
Yeah, I think that's right on the money, though. But you know what? I was watching that other one on the ME-109s, and you know how they had the original ME-109s had that engine that was upside down, which
that was their Mercedes-Benz motor. Now these are those Hispanos.
Yeah, well, the Hispanos, they did them like our Allisons.
Yes.
Well, there's a guy in Oregon that got a hold of one of those 109s that had the Hispano engine in it. But what they did up here north of me, about 60 miles, there's a rebuild shop up there. They call it Pacific Rebuilders.
Hey,
I'm familiar with them.
And they specialize in Mustang rebuilds, restorations and rebuilds. Well, anyway, I went in their shop one day and was going around in there. Me and some guys from a model club here went in there one evening when they were all done working, and they gave us a tour. The guy that owns it, his son gave us the tour and all of the shakedown on all this stuff. And at that time, they had the P-51B in there, the one that went to England from here.
Oh, yeah.
The Berlin Express. Well, they're the ones that restored that airplane.
Wow.
But anyway, when we were in there, they had a body in the jig of a 109. And anyway, they had fit a but an Allison engine to that. And they had the motor mount, all made and made it up to the firewall and everything. It was all, those guys had the wing was ready for covering. The tail section was all done, and they were really coming along on it. And anyway, me and the guys were actually going to go back in there last winter and look at the progress on that, because they said they should be done in 2 or 3 months from the time that we were there.
Wow.
Which was in the summer anyway. That's been over a year ago now. Well, anyway, I called this John Missoula Jr., which was the one that he raced in Reno this year in the P-51. He raced to B himself.
Wow.
Anyway, I called him to see how they were coming along on the 109, and he said, well, we're not. The guy that owned it in Oregon, we had to ship it back over there to him. Lack of funds. He ran out of money, so I guess it's probably over there in storage too, just like they did all of those Hispano 109s, where they found them.
Hey, Frank, and that hobby light that you're putting on there,
yeah,
do you find it any different from regular old household spackling?
Yeah, it's balsa wood colored, and it's lighter.
Oh, it is lighter. Okay.
Yeah, it's way better. It's got balsa material in it.
Every time I pick up a big jar of that stuff in Lowe's, the DAP is so light I almost throw it over my shoulder.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I use a lot of that too.
This is even lighter than that, I guess. I've never bought the balsa colored kind before.
Yeah, they make it white and balsa.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt y'all's conversation. I just wanted to.
No, that's all right.
Oh, that's okay, no problem.
Oh, I know what I was going to ask. What did I miss about a Spitfire? Somebody crashed a Spitfire or something?
There's, Mike, if you want to get me your email, I'll put you on this little list. It's kind of a short list. We pass around some aviation videos. We recently did, Wally and I, and Charles saw a couple of the GB series, the Granville Brothers.
Oh, wow.
Kermit Weeks is a friend, a valued friend, and I send a lot of his videos. And
Boy,
in fact, Fantasy of Flight is closed right now, and he's redoing it, and he's got some new hangars done and restructuring it all. And several of us, I think, are going to be paying him a visit.
Wow,
Wally being one of them.
Well,
we're gonna keep that on the low, but we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But Wally's in a good place. That's all I'm saying. He's in a good place.
Well, hopefully it'll all work out. We'll see.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I got my fingers crossed, and I think we're going to have some neat stuff come about.
Yep, we're going to make some videos too.
What you working at tonight, Jamie?
Oh, none. I just finished watching, I think, 2 separate videos of Wendy building a cardinal wing.
Oh, I was watching that too last night. I've watched it in bits and pieces for a while, and I want to go back.
I watched the scratch built one, and in the I just started the kit built one a little while ago.
What? Tell me what that, if you know what that video is called. That's the one I want to watch. I didn't know there was one of a kit built wing.
The kit built, and I'll search it up.
Yeah, because I was watching the scratch built one, and all of his Cardinals are full fuselage, right? He didn't make a profile, did he?
Yeah,
He did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. It's a beautiful airplane too.
Well, that's what I need to be watching.
Yeah, he put a KMB 40 in it, wasn't it? Yeah, KMB 40. Boy, it's a pretty airplane. So, Charles, did you get a fly over the weekend?
You know, I flew today, but I was very disgusted. I put my stalker back together finally, and I don't know if I put the sleeve in wrong, but man, the plane did not, the engine did not run nothing like how it ran in May. Yeah, I haven't flown this plane since May, you know, and I have videos of it on the channel. And, you know, it's so funny. I'm watching these videos and this plane is, the engine's running so awesome. And then today it was not running anything like it. And it's a new crankshaft, a new crankcase, new cover plate, but it's the same piston and liner. So the only thing I can think is that I might have put the liner in wrong.
You know, right now the temperatures are different inside that engine because it's still breaking in where the new crankshaft and crankcase are meeting each other. Yeah, you reckon that could have anything to do with it? Well,
what's strange is that, you know, in May, I could, now, mind you, I'm turning a 13-inch, 13.9 prop. And so I didn't get much RPMs, but I was getting like 7,000 RPMs in May. And today I could barely bust over 6,000.
I think that might be too much weight for the higher friction new parts. Maybe once you get it broke, maybe you should break it in with a little bit lighter pitch and see if it doesn't loosen up to where you can go back to your old favorite prop.
Yeah, I'll try that. I'm gonna tear it down tonight and then make sure I put the sleeve in correctly.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And then you know, I put a bigger Venturi. I was looking on Stunthangar, and Gordon Delaney, who used a lot of stalkers, he said that his stalker came alive when he put a 330 size Venturi. Now, the biggest Venturi I had was a 327, and I don't remember what the one I had in May was, but it was much smaller. So I put the bigger Venturi in there today.
That might be.
I'm not sure if it's the Venturi is too big, or if the sleeve is in wrong, but I was kind of disgusted because I was expecting to.
I think first thing, well, checking the sleeve, if you really think that's a possibility, yeah, do that first. But definitely go back to the Venturi if you can figure out which one it was, and before you expect it to be the same with the same prop.
Hey, Charles, I have one question. On your sleeve, is there anything like a pin, you know, that some of these airplanes have pins to line them up?
Yeah, a little nub.
Or does this one you just have to eyeball it and go for it?
Eyeball it, yeah.
But when you look inside your case, does it look like the exhaust port is lined up with the two sides of the cylinder wall?
You know, I look at the sleeve, there's one port that's lower, which I assumed was the exhaust. That one in line with the exhaust.
Your exhaust is, I'm trying to remember, I think you're opposite. I think the exhaust is higher. Yeah, your exhaust port is higher and your intakes are the low ones.
You sure about that?
Okay. I'm pretty sure. Well, you need to research that. I think that's right. So if that's the case, your sleeve is in 180 degrees off.
I'm going to check it.
Check into
that. It's only a 50-50 chance, so might as well give it a try.
Yeah. In fact, hold on just a minute. I'm going to go downstairs and check a cylinder sleeve that I got out of my one of my Fox 40s, and I can tell you for sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Exhaust opens first, according to Ron Haas.
What was that again?
Exhaust opens first, according to Ron Hass over on YouTube.
Oh, okay, so that would be lower then. Okay.
I think so. It wouldn't make any sense for it to be higher to me, but I might not be seeing the whole picture. But anyway, like I said, 50-50. Give it a swap, see what happens.
So what happened was I was watching. I've been watching the Wendy Wanowski building series of the B-25, which is excellent. I love this build. It's so Wendy just totally has just raised the level. I've always been impressed with his workmanship and craftsmanship, but the B-25 is just another level, I tell you. You know, like example, the landing gear. That. You know, some people use the robot.
One of the B-25 videos is combined with the Cardinal video too. But
I have that one, but I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, me either.
I've seen that one, but I haven't watched it. But I was impressed with that. He actually, you know how some people use those robot World War II landing gear, plastic stuff you snap on, which looks okay, but he actually made his out of wood and carbon fiber too. And I was just so impressed with that. Not to mention the nacelles and how he made those, and phenomenal. So during that video, he was actually talking to Tom Hampshire, excuse me. And I heard Tom Hampshire say that the exhaust port is always lower.
Yeah. Well,
Ron
just clarified what he meant by opening first, and he says it opens first with the piston going down. Exhaust first. Exhaust uncovers first as the piston descends.
Okay, so that would make it higher then.
Higher, yeah.
Okay, so maybe that's what the problem is.
Let's see what Wally brings back. He's starting to get one to look at.
Well, I hope I didn't mess up my cylinder sleeve by doing that.
No, I don't think so. I've heard of people doing it a bunch of times. And unless there was some kind of alignment key in there that you squashed out of position, and I think you would have known something was wrong when you were cross-tightening the head bolts.
Yeah.
You'd have felt something funny. I don't think that would have got by you. Not unless you put it together with a power driver.
No, I didn't do that. But it wasn't early. It was like 3:30. I went to bed at 4 this morning.
Damn. I wasn't too far before you, though. Went to bed at, well, actually it was 1:45 and got up at 4:15. But I got up a couple of times in between, so I don't know if you can count that as a night of sleep.
Didn't sound like much of a night.
What you got, ruffles?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So where'd Terry go?
I don't know.
We went to get us an engine to look at about the piston exhaust port position.
No, Terry's gone completely.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm scrolling it along, and I don't see Terry.
Oh, Terry, no, that was Wally that went away. Yeah, no, I don't know where Terry went.
I don't either.
What'd you find out from me, Wally?
Okay, here you go, Charles. This is from a Fox 50.
All right.
Which is ringed. But anyway, here you have 3 sets of ports. You have 2 side ports, and then you have two here that are low ports. But on this side here has three ports here
That are higher.
That are higher, and those are your exhaust ports. So if you put your exhaust ports higher on the other side for your intake, then your exhaust over here is too low. And I remembered that my son rebuilding an engine put a sleeve in 180 wrong like that, and that's what his did. It didn't run with any power. It ran, but it didn't have the power needed. And I said, well, you need to turn your sleeve around, put it back in. So after he put his exhaust high ones on the exhaust side of the cylinder, then it ran great.
All right.
So we need to have our exhaust on the high side.
All right, thank you, Wally. That gives me some peace. At least I might come up with a better engine run, because, you know, it's kind of like Now, I've never done this, but it was like, if you was to watch a dating site video and it's hot ladies, hot in Photoshop, then when you finally meet, she resembles it, but it's not the same woman, Well, my plane, I was expected to fly like it did in May, have all because I could do anything in May. I mean, I could put that plane anywhere and do anything with it. And then today, it was like, it looked like the Strega, but it wasn't anything like it.
Yeah.
So I was very disappointed.
So you're pretty sure that you put the high or your low intakes on the exhaust side?
Yeah, I deliberately did that because I was listening to a Windy video yesterday, and Tom Hampshire, who developed the Brodak 40, sometimes and I've been guilty of this, sometimes I'll say the opposite of what I mean. I just say it wrong.
Yeah, me too.
He said that the exhaust is always the lower port.
No.
And so maybe he was thinking one way and said something else, and I just took it as gospel because this is Tom Hampshire. He's developed the Brodak 40, which I love the Brodak 40. I don't have one, but I would love to have a Brodak 40 motor.
Yeah, I would like to.
I just took it off that, and I just put it in just like that, like you said. I just figured that's how it came apart. Like, this is someone back in May.
Yeah.
Ron stated over on YouTube about as clearly as you can get to remember is exhaust opens first while the piston's descending. So,
all right.
So that's the high side. So, yeah, you turn that around to where your exhaust is on your exhaust ports, the high ports. Go to your exhaust side of your engine cylinder, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you that makes a better engine run like never before.
Yeah.
That's the way my son's was. That engine he put together, it's like, wow, I got an engine again.
The exhaust is diluting the fuel charge. That's also a Ron Hass quote.
Well, you know what? That makes it worth what I paid to join this call tonight, I tell you.
Yeah.
That was money well spent tonight.
Right. I don't have to worry about giving you a refund. Arguing with you on the phone about it. Boy, that's a big old bottle of vodka you got there, Charles.
Yeah, vodka.
It is
Holy cow, look at that.
Yeah.
Charles, I didn't know you were a drinker.
It is now. Just started.
This is my brew.
That looks like a Pepsi too.
And then Sparky's Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I'm Coke. I'm a Cokeaholic. Coke and Mike and Ike's.
I'm mostly a coffee drinker. I just drink coffee mostly.
I drink a cup of coffee in the morning and one in the afternoon, and then every time I do this show, I have my cup of coffee.
But I drink decaf. That's why I'm probably yawning all the time.
No, I don't drink decaf. I drink the real thing. I like the way it makes my hair tingle.
Well, this is kind of weird because I wasn't here Monday night, so I'm a whole week or 5 days behind you guys.
No,
so I keep thinking this was
just my pictures in Cardinal Report. I saved all of my pictures in Cardinal Report for you guys to come back. So,
oh man, I'm glad.
We'll look at that tonight.
You did that.
If Terry comes back,
I got a few more pictures too. I can show you if you want to see them later too. We got to get through all of our talk first before we start doing pictures.
Well, I found the videos, Rusty.
Oh, great.
It's shit. I just forgot.
How do you spell that?
That happens.
Give me a second.
I'll drop it in my play later list.
I got like 10 YouTube browsers opened up from different Windy videos of different series of more.
You're watching them at different lengths at different times, huh?
You know your bandwidth will work better if you close a bunch of tabs.
Windy U Cardinal wing kits. Yeah, Windy U Cardinal wing kit.
Okay, and that's on CL Guy's channel?
Yep, and it's 4 hours long.
Okay.
You didn't like that one.
Yeah, that's a Windy video.
That's the one I need to be watching. I've been watching his scratch built one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. As I know, this is the kit one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be, after Huntersville, it's going to be time almost for me to start thinking seriously about color schemes, because I'm going to paint the fuselage before I build the wing, and or either simultaneously. And I don't want it to look like everybody else's Cardinal. Now, somebody on here the other night gave me an idea for using chrome monocoat on the wing, and maybe as a base panel, and then I'd put accents over that. But I don't want it to look like everybody else's. So my favorite colors, black and red, black, white, red, blue, are going to have to go in the pen this time, and let me think of something new.
You know what you can do,
Yeah, I mean,
Rusty,
you don't want
is
to be like everybody else and have a red.
go on and look at some of them radio control airplanes.
Yeah.
They have some really good ideas, and you can kind of put something together. In
You
your
know,
head.
one color I love that I've never used is cobalt blue.
Cobalt,
That would go good with black or silver accents.
It's okay, baby. Never mind.
So I might think about that. I guess while we're talking about it, let me go ahead and bring my folder up and show you what I got going on here.
So what kind of brand of paint do you use, Rusty?
I use a Duplicolor acrylic lacquer, and I use Brodac butyrate dope.
Okay.
And thinner. Let's see, these aren't all in order, but let me see if I can order them as much as possible. I guess we'll start with a review. I don't know if there's anybody here that doesn't know what I've already done, but get these going.
I wonder what happened to Terry. He just,
I don't know. I posted a message for him in case he can see it on YouTube.
Well, I tried to come in on YouTube 3 times, couldn't do it, so I ended up coming in on Stunthangar at the bench.
Yeah, maybe if you're listening, Terry, try that. All right, screen share, open application window, Microsoft Pictures.
How's the school going, Mike?
not really well right now.
Oh, that's too bad, man.
Okay, let's see now. What have we got?
Now, what engine you going to put in this one here, Rusty?
That's the LA 46.
Okay.
And
Nice.
this right now, that of course is self presenting. It's the engine beams glued in. Everything went pretty straight, and that plug, if y'all can see my mouse arrow that is back here for the landing gear to mount in, is a hardwood plug, but I just made a balsa plug for that. That way, I figured, since I'm not going to be using it, that hardwood would create an unnecessary stress riser. The softer balsa would match the wood around it, and so that's that. Let me move on to the next picture. And okay, that's me gluing the doublers down. That's my flat irons on there.
Very cool.
Yeah. And there's my
a couple of them.
There's my tail wheel assembly. I got that put together, and I made that plug that goes into the wing root so that I could align the doublers without them sliding around and being exactly so there's no overlap into the wing root, and also they match perfectly at the bottoms of at the tops of the bearers. So all of those are my reference points. And let's see where. Let me back this. What is this a picture of?
Quick grip.
Okay, and you can see how I made sure that. Never mind.
Hey, David.
Not what I was thinking. All right, next picture. Oh, there's my work table and plans hanging up and everything.
I think this thing's home now.
What'd you say, Jimmy?
I don't think it's working.
That's David.
Oh, Dave's coming in.
Yeah.
I can see you, Dave. Turn. You can try. Are you back in your apartment?
Yeah,
or are you still in Atlanta? if you got a way to mouse up to
I'm not in
your
Atlanta.
window and turn the bandwidth down, it looks like a cellular level signal, a stack of bars. And if you click that, you can lower your bandwidth and it'll work a lot better. And you know what I'm saying? Mouse up in the window, right up
I'm
at the
trying
top.
to do.
There's a little guy with a plus
I've
sign.
got it on auto right now. I said, oh,
Maybe a little.
David, shake your head back and forth.
Door barrel.
He must be locked up.
Yeah, he's not coming through, man.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Where were we here? Now on to tonight's pictures. And oh, okay. Here's some more pictures. All right. Going back to screen sharing.
All right.
If my control will pop up. Come on, control. There it comes. Okay. There is the fuselage with the doublers. Actually, the engine's on the wrong side, but I got the little balsa nose blocks glued in. Finally figured out what that was all about. And it wasn't clear to me at first. And the nose ring's just sitting there for looks. But the I spread both sides of the doublers and carded it off. Did the same on the fuselage until they were just shiny, and then put it down with that big giant flat bar and those flat irons that I've got. And it came out looking pretty good.
Yeah,
and
so far,
good.
looking good.
There's the tail wheel assembly.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's
Good.
not glued in. It's just stuck in place right now.
this
There's the cheek cowl. And so it's just rough cut right now. But notice up at the front where the doublers came together and matched up. I didn't think it was all going to match up before I put it together, and I talked to Terry about that. This is what he wanted to see. So I'll have to show this back when he gets back in with us. But I managed to get it all to fit up pretty well, and I'm really happy with it. There's no overlap at the root where the doubler goes around the curve, so I shouldn't have any sanding. I hate that when I have to sand that hard ass plywood.
I hear you. I got a question.
Okay.
Where you have your block there marked out for your engine, are you going to cut that out, or are you going to leave that in?
No,
okay,
when I raced the doubler, I just wasn't thinking when I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad I realized I'd done it by accident, because that is not going to be cut out.
Now, another question: you're going to use inserts for your engine?
I'm 90% sure, yes, because that's what I've been using lately, and they seem to work pretty well.
Yeah,
you gotta make damn sure you got to get a good epoxy set. You don't want to have one of those soft set deals going on, or a hard brittle set. So no 5-minute epoxy.
Right. I'm going to do that on my next one. That's I'm going to use some inserts and see how the longevity is, and I think it's going to work out just fine.
Have you ever used them before on a nose like this?
I haven't. Okay,
well, what do you need to do before you bore the holes for the inserts and screw them in is to once you bore the holes through the doubler to the depth, and mark the drill bit with a piece of tape to the depth you want, so that the face of the doubler is flush with the fuselage beam and not the face of the doubler. Okay, you want it screwed in beneath the doubler, but countersink the doubler before you try to go through it with that insert, or it'll splinter it all up.
I got you. Yeah,
All right.
I hear you.
Yeah, and then just be careful about how far you screw it in. But the doubler is a 16th inch thick, so you want the face of the insert a 16th inch below, right flush with the beam itself.
Yeah.
And that gives you a big reason to have an aluminum pad between the engine and the plywood when you mount the engine too, so as not to compress the doubler over.
Now the next question is, when you do that, like on your Cardinal here, will you have any offset in your engine, or is it going to be flat?
It's going to be offset. I've got 2-degree aluminum wedges from Tom, not Tom Morris.
Jim Lee?
What'd you say?
Jim
No,
Lee?
Tom Morris.
Oh, Tom Morris. Okay.
But yeah, when I mount the nose ring and all that stuff, then those will be incorporated too, to make sure that everything's at the right angle and centered.
Nice. Yeah, I hear you. That'll work out good. So your wood over here on this side, your balsa will go over that.
Yeah.
And then you'll shape that, and then it'll look really nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Looks like Terry's trying to get back.
Yeah, Terry and Wally don't have their avatar is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Same with you, Mike. I
I'm
can
gonna
see
stop sharing for a minute. We can come back.
There's Terry. He got in again.
Yeah.
3,
Hey,
4, 5, 6,
listen.
7, 8, 9, 10. We're trying to get 10 people in here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the problem. Part of the problem.
Well, hey, I'll jump off and let these other guys come on. Somebody
Actually,
keeps,
Terry, I'm going to step out. I've got some things to do. Let RW stay in. I don't even know who RW is, but I'll.
Yeah, Rob. That's Rob.
Bishop.
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm going to jump off and I'll catch you guys later.
All right, Terry. Catch
Yeah,
you later.
But
boys.
I'll meet you guys. Hey,
Hey,
Mike, you
Terry.
can meet us over at, yeah.
I was just showing what we wanted to talk about, but it can wait. We'll get back to it later on the nose of the Cardinal. So we'll get back to that later, I guess.
No,
Come
no, I
back
saw
in a
the
little later.
photos.
Come back in
All
a
right.
little later. We'll go through some more pictures.
Yeah, we'll be on here till about 12:30.
And
Hey,
I'm going to jump
hey,
off,
hey,
let
Bob.
some other guys on.
How you doing tonight, Bob?
Okay. I'm
Good.
losing the video feed a lot, though.
What'd you say?
I'm losing the video feed a lot.
Oh, you can.
Maybe
Are you on a regular computer?
I'm going to call you iMac.
If you can turn your bandwidth down and get a more dependable video feed. If you will, mouse up to near the top of the video window, and a control bar appears with a microphone, camera, a bunch of bars, a cog. Well,
I got it.
click on that stack of angled bars,
Oh,
and
okay.
and then turn it down to low or very low, and that slider, and that'll fix about 90% of your video problems, like being jumpy, and it'll be a blurrier, but at least it'll be more even. It won't be jumping around.
Okay, I got it. I got it all the way down, and I lost the image altogether.
Oh, well, maybe try next all the way down. Yeah, I don't see you now at all either.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some nights, even Friday nights, I think are worse than Monday nights about getting good video, because it's just busy.
I know. I listen in whenever I can. This is the first opportunity I've had to actually to come in.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you dropped in on us. We don't have to have your picture. I mean, you can talk to us just as.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine, but I can't see anything.
They didn't see my ugly face for like 2 months before I got in here.
It's burned into the back of my retinas now, Wiley. I know.
Hey, Frank, you about ready to cover your wing then?
Yeah, it's ready to cover. I just got to cut in for the servo before I cover it, though.
Yeah, I see you got your engine out on the table too.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this spackle stuff to dry, and then I'll sand it out.
How long before you can sand that or that hobby light?
Well, I mean, you can sand it within a couple hours, but I like to wait till the next day so it gets hard.
That way it doesn't ball up and get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It ends better once you give it a little time to dry.
A couple hours.
But I normally in this bottle of it or whatever.
Sparky just filled in the number 9 spot with Stunthangar East is online. Or Stunthangar Middle East. I guess I'm far east.
Where are you located, Rob?
I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, way up there north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually been out of modeling since I was a kid, but I'm thinking I'd like to maybe build something. I used to
come
fool around with stunt and combat, and
yeah,
man, it was in the late '60s.
Are you anywhere near Pittsburgh?
No, that's the other side of the state.
Oh, the other side. Okay, so you're closer to the Philly Flyers, I guess.
Yeah, I'm about 45, 50 miles from Philly, I guess.
Okay, I love those guys. Yeah, like Ken Cook and Larry Wilkes, and a lot of those I consider friends. They're great guys.
Yeah, there's actually a control line club here in Reading. It's called the Flying Dutchman, but I don't think they're active anymore. They got a real nice field. I've been up there
I
a few
hear
times.
about them once in a while, but I think it's in newsletters. Once in a while, somebody will mention them, but no, I don't know anything about them either.
Yeah, I go up to their field from time to time looking. I haven't seen anybody. It's real nice. I don't know who takes care of it.
I was about to ask if anybody's mowing the grass or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it maybe it's owned by the city. I don't know.
Now, is Phil Cartier one of you guys up there or in that area?
Who?
Phil Cartier, combat guy.
No, I don't know anybody in this area, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really?
Well, Rusty's working on an airplane right now that'd be a real good kit to start with if you're starting to start building planes again.
Yeah, I got more problems than that. I had to move on my mom. She's doing the Alzheimer's thing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I can't generate any vapors here, and I can't generate any dust.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Well,
there we go.
That's cruel. We went through not Alzheimer's, but another type of dementia with very similar characteristics with my wife's mom, and it's so awful. But she's actually doing better now that she's moved in with a dementia clinic, sort of an old folks home, and she's actually really happy and enjoying it there. I think she thinks she's on vacation, but what the hell? Being not Alzheimer's, she's not progressing the same way, so she seems to have maybe plateaued a little bit. So I consider that good. As long as she's still happy, that's good. And the family is gradually clearing out her house. I got a lot of good modeling supplies from there, like my fuselage building glass, my little portable 4-foot by 4-inch glass. So,
hey guys.
Hey Sparky, I'm glad I got on. It was down to the wire, but I made it. My broadband was out all day.
That's good.
See, Rob, look, get one of these, $110. You're good to go.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, a good plane for practicing and learning with, and it'll take a lick too. It'll even take a better lick if you leave that stick out of the wing.
Hey, do you know what the weather's supposed to be like for Huntersville?
Back in a minute.
I do know that it's cooling off beginning Tuesday, and it'll probably be in the 70s, 60s, 70s. But I have not looked at the long range forecast yet, for sure. I just know that in Columbia, 100 miles south, next week is the October cool off, and it never really warms back up after that. We might get warm enough to break a sweat in midday, but that's probably about it. I think it's supposed to be clear and blue most of the time.
As long as the wind is down.
I hope so. I sure don't want it to be like it was in May. I don't expect it will be, and it's usually not. It's usually pretty nice, with maybe a steady breeze, but as long as it's not blowing through the trees, we can't control that.
Our weather doesn't change 5 times from clear, cool, hot, sunny, rainy.
Yeah, with your fuel load changing on every flight.
Hey, Sparky.
My brother from another mother.
There you go,
Yes. Yeah, there we go. I'm feeling the love, Sparky. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Love generation.
So, who else we got? I wish Terry didn't have to leave us, because he's the one I wanted to talk to about building our winter projects. But I'll wait till he comes back to get back into my pictures. Oh, there's the wing. Is it? I mean, lock in on you.
Yeah.
Let me zoom out.
Get locked in. There we go.
Very nice, Sparky.
Yeah.
Let me zoom out here, as soon as I can find it. There we are.
So what you got there? About 4 ounces of wood.
5.
Bell crank already in it.
No. You figure that it'll be 9 ounces with the flaps and the belt crank and everything on it.
So you hadn't got the other side seated in the center yet?
No tips.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Looking good. Yep.
It's light. Straight.
Very good.
So it can be done. You can build away from home.
Now, is that built in the lost foam system?
Yeah. I'll be headed home tomorrow morning, so I'll have a few days at Stunthangar Central.
Right on.
Hey, Sparky, have you ever tried any of this Gorilla CA?
No, I've tried Gorilla Glue on my shoe, and I'll tell you what, it glued the sole on my shoe that lasted 5 years.
That is the first CA I ever used on an airplane right there. It says, it called it rubberized. That was back when I was building my little jumping bean. And I didn't know how to use CA at the time, but I was able to pre-glue the parts and jam them together and get them about right. So that was not the best plane I ever built, but it's strong. I mean, I didn't ever break any glue joints.
What's your question on it, Charles?
Well, you see, I haven't opened it yet. I was at work and needed some CA, and my hobby store was closed. I went and bought this. I could get it at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm just not sure if I should use it on my plane or not.
Well, it's good glue, but it won't soak in like thin CA will. So, you know, it's thick, fairly. 10
Take
seconds.
a couple
Is
pieces of wood, glue it together, and test it. Try to break it apart.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I had good luck with it. I was able to use the whole bottle without fouling the bottle. That's always a plus. But yeah, it seems like a good brand. Who does it say who makes it on the bottom back of the label?
Gorilla Glue.
That's what I figured. I looked at my Loctite and
Yeah, Gorilla Glue Company.
I looked at my Loctite glue and it's made by Hinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue Company. I mean, I know it's a medium, and I just wanted to compare it to other CA mediums, you know?
Yeah. Well, I like it when I use it, but I've only gone through a couple of bottles of it because when I found I liked the Loctite, I just stick with 5 and 10 second Loctite and then hobby store for thin CA.
I use Bob Smith products.
Yeah, me too when I can get them.
That's what I use.
I think I might have Great Plains right now. I'm not sure.
I buy it by the pint. I don't mess around. It's $30 for a pint.
You keep it in the fridge?
How do you dispense it? What do you suck it into a smaller bottle to use small amounts at a time?
I use a regular CA bottle, and I use it so quick there's no need to put it in the fridge. I mean, I have a bottle over there that's probably gone bad, about that much left in the bottle. But when I'm building, I go through a pint. And, you know,
on the Bob Smith site, under the questions and answers, it says if you store a large one in the refrigerator like that, don't let it get warm when you're getting some out of it. Get it right back in the fridge, or else moisture will condense in it and cause it to thicken.
the only thing that happens with old CA is it doesn't kick off.
Yeah.
So you just shoot some kicker on it and it'll kick off.
Yeah. Well, I noticed my Loctite CA will thicken after a while if I don't use it, and if the cap doesn't fit good.
Man, I come
built
from
in
I
the
come
90s.
from the Android days.
Say that again, Bob. I didn't hear what you said.
I says I come from the Android days.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do too. Actually, Android and testers and all those.
Yeah, still Android out there.
Duco.
Yeah.
Where do you get Android at, Bob?
Brodax.
Oh, Brodax sells Android? Okay.
You don't want to use that.
If I want some of that kind of glue, I usually just get the testers down at the hobby store, Michael's or something like that. But I don't use much of that for anything.
Well, you know, I saw Bob Whiteley had his Formula S at the Palmer, I think it was this year, and he was doing a square maneuver going straight down, and he had a hardware failure and splat. And you know what? That wing joint to the fuselage with Android, it was still there.
Really?
I mean, the wing wasn't, but the but I mean,
The Android
I thought that was very impressive. I mean, Android is a good glue.
It's heavy.
Is it true that it shrinks away and disappears over time?
Well, I'm not sure how old his Formula S is, but I'm sure he's had it for a while.
The best glue and the lightest is white glue, but it takes forever to dry. So I use CA.
Yeah, I'm impatient.
Tom Morris uses white glue. And then Joe Adamusco, all he uses is Android.
And Tom dots it on like rivets too.
Yeah.
I remember
CA and
the
epoxy
problem. It jumped up.
What's that?
I says I remember dope being a problem with white glue. It wouldn't stick to it and it would jump up.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Dope does not stick to white glue.
Yeah.
But it sticks to DC 540, and DC 540 sticks to white glue.
Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah, the week after Huntersville, I'll be painting my fuselage, and I was just telling the other guys earlier, I need to come up with a color scheme because I don't want this Cardinal to look like everybody else's Cardinal. So, got to come up with some ideas. I'll have a good palette to look over in Huntersville and see if I can come up with some ideas.
Bob, you look familiar to me. Where are you from again? Pennsylvania? Where at?
I used to fly in the valley in Los Angeles.
Ah, so did I. Did you fly Sepulveda or Whittier?
Sepulveda. I never did go to Whittier.
Yeah, I've been out there. I'm a Tom Warden protege.
Yeah, I haven't been out there though since the 60s.
That's when I flew out there.
67, 68.
Do you remember the father and son team? They flew Blue Noblers.
No. Remember Bill Netzaban?
Sure.
Yeah.
Wild Bill?
Wild Bill Netzaban. He passed away a while back, I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I flew with him a couple times.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very innovative.
Bill Noyes. Do you know who that is?
No.
No Tom Warden, no Bill Noyes, huh? And you flew at Sepulveda.
Sepulveda. Ken Joskowitz.
That doesn't ring a bell.
He flew a lot of jet speed.
How about Jerry Silver? Was he flying then?
Who?
Jerry Silver.
It sounds familiar, but I can't place a face.
Well, let me ask you this, Bob. Did you go to the best hobby shop in the valley, Ed's Covina Hobby?
No, I lived over in West LA at the time. I went to Evetts a lot.
I lived in West Covina.
Oh, that's a way. I was in West LA, near Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Evetts Hobby Shop was really big. I think he was a real big contributor to the new field they have there now.
So what are you, about 65?
Yeah, they put up a plaque or something. What am I, 65?
Yeah.
No, I'm 63. I'll be 64 in January.
And we're close. I guess everybody in here, except for a few, are close to the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be 60 in December.
Yeah. The problem is my dad, he lost interest in flying, and I didn't have any way to get out there, so that was the end of that. Yeah, we flew like crazy for years.
Do you remember back then in the 60s we could fly at the schoolyard and you'd hear an engine start up and you run down to the schoolyard to see who was flying?
Yeah, used to go to a schoolyard in Santa Monica and fly the old Voodoo and burn a quart of fuel. Yeah, then they outlawed it.
Took the fun right out of everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to abandon y'all for a minute. I'm back. Charles, when's your next contest? You were talking about going to one recently.
Yeah, I'm going to the Golden State Stunt Championship next weekend.
Yeah, okay, that's right, because yours and mine are at the same time.
Yeah, but I'm not ready. I'm trying to get ready.
Yeah, well, if you flip the damn liner in that stalker around, I believe you're going to be ready. You might want to put the right Ventura back on.
Yeah,
Pull that orange wing out from behind you and get the glue in. You'll be ready.
Yeah.
What's that orange wing? A Striker or something?
That's a T-Rex.
Oh, yeah.
It's only been sitting there for 2 years.
I know it.
Yeah, I know. I got tired of it getting beat up on the ground, so I hung it up. That's an electric plane, so I'm one day I'll get around to it.
Oh, electric.
I mean, it doesn't have any electric in it, but it's all set up for electric.
Okay.
I just had to repress the urge to yawn. Electric, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm just going to try it. This one gentleman sent me some stuff. He goes, Charles, you should try electric. And I said, well, I can't afford the $500 to go that way.
Yeah,
said, well,
there are a lot of good reasons. There are a lot of good reasons to have an electric or two in your fleet. I mean, you can fly them anywhere without announcing yourself at so many decibels, and they're so convenient as far as flight gear goes. You just throw it in the car and go. You don't need a whole wagon load of fuel and props and Venturis and whatever else you like to take to the field.
Yeah, but unlike Glow, I just called my friend. I was on the phone earlier. That's why I muted my call. I called a friend of mine to invite him to go flying tomorrow. But someone could call me and I could go fly in 10 minutes with Glow. But with electric, you have to have your batteries charged. You have to take them out of the storage, and so it's not that.
Yeah.
And I've seen guys have problems with electrics too. It's not as plug and play as people make it seem like.
Do those batteries draw too much current while they're charging to charge through your cigarette lighter somehow?
No, you can, but it takes a while.
Probably only an amp or two.
Well, let's hear from the team trial. Steve Hines has just joined us.
Hey, Steve-O.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We're good.
Well, it started out windy, and it got windier. It was something today. But Chris and Bob got Samantha's airplane trimmed out pretty good.
Right on.
You walking down the hall in a hotel?
Yeah. I was going to go outside and have a cigarette.
All right. Yeah, you need to get one of them vapors so you can smoke inside.
Yeah, but it's just like.
Yeah, we're losing him.
Yeah, he's going through patches of bad Wi-Fi. We'll wait till you sit down and smoke, and then we'll talk to you. You done froze up solid now.
Well, I'm on the Wi-Fi for the hotel.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is.
Yeah. What you really don't know is how bad it is.
I'm hearing you guys about the best I've heard you in a while. I'm breaking up bad.
Yeah, right where you started, you was real good, man.
Well, I can tell you why you hear me real well is right now I'm on a VPN and my IP address is Dallas.
Oh, okay.
So you got the big system supporting you tonight.
Well, I'm tired of Big Brother spying on me, so I went and got Virtual Shield, which is a VPN.
Yeah, that's something I'm not knowledgeable about. Is
simple
like that?
Simple.
Oh, George is bringing a plane up to the camera. Let's see what George has for us.
Do you remember my what's the name? This plane, I forget it. Mongoose, yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, but with a few modifications, I made the wing different, also the tail more longer, and I think that the nose is too long. I hope that the plane will not heavy from the nose.
Yeah, we got plenty of room for a fuel tank anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
No big deal. Just add some solder to the tail wheel.
Yeah, it's better to have to put weight on the tail than it is to have to put weight on the nose.
And I'm finishing it. I am monocoating it, but I also like with nylon, with 1.8 ounce square yard. The same used in ultralights. It's I do not remember the name of this product. No copyright, no.
Ultra coat.
No. It's
solar film, monocoat.
Polyspan.
It's this one.
No, that's regular silk span.
Or polyspan.
Yeah, that's. This used in airplanes too, but it's 1 ounce square yard. Oh, it's too heavy or not, but it's
that's cloth. Is it cloth?
Is it got a grain direction to it? Has it got a grain direction to it?
Yes. Yeah. This way.
Yeah. That's silk span. That's the real silk span.
See, I like it because you need with an iron. It's very easy to iron. It's very easy. I'm very
cover all.
Yeah, it's thick coverall.
Yeah. I got some doctor paper I'm putting on my Cardinals fuselage just to make a decent finish.
I like to use dope in airplanes because the first time when we start to flying control line long time ago in 78, 75, we having nylon covers over here in Colombia, just dope and mucilin. I don't know if you know it. It's a silk that we found here, and we used to use dope and paint only.
Yeah, I got one buddy that uses pure silk. Bob Zambelli puts pure silk on a lot of his planes.
Yeah.
But over time it gets brittle. I've got one of his old planes that you can't touch without putting your fingers through.
Not if you plasticize it. 1 drop of castor oil per ounce of dope.
That's right. I'd heard that. I'd forgotten about it though.
1 ounce?
No, 1 drop of castor oil. 1 drop per ounce of dope. So if you have 12 ounces of dope, put 12 drops of castor oil in it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent.
And that'll plasticize it.
Yeah.
It won't be brittle.
Let me ask you guys this. if I were to put silk span on the side of my cardinal fuselage, is it okay to put it down with dampen it with water, lay it down, then paint it down with butyrate? I was worried about that warping, but if I do both sides, they'll equalize and warp back straight, I hope. Am I going to be okay doing it that method?
You got 3 coats of dope on it now?
Not yet, but I will before
Three coats of dope, put the silk span on wet, and dope it down with the 50-50 clear dope.
Okay, that's probably about what I would have done. So, yeah, that's the way I did my flaps last time. I just wanted to make sure because do not want to warp it.
And just remember,
Can you guys hear me better now that I'm back where I started?
Yeah, much better.
Rusty, remember Wendy used Windex that evaporates quicker.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
People used to ask me, why are you using Windex?
Yeah, actually, I keep a bottle of Windex in the shop, so I might do that. And you just want to lightly dampen it, right? You don't want it to get dripping wet. Just enough for it to stick. Okay, I'll do that. There's no need for any filler powder in the balsa or in the first coat of sealer, is there?
No.
Not going to silk span it.
Remember my byline on Stunthangar, finish starts with the first piece of wood cut. So if every joint's tight and everything's level and flat and it's all smooth, there's not a whole lot of need for a lot of filler.
Yeah, okay.
So do your sanding now.
I had done some planes before by mixing polyacrylic and talcum powder and
heavy
filler, but it's also it seemed like it must be heavy.
Oh, real heavy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. This thing's going to be heavy enough already. So good. I'll be ready to proceed with finishing that fuselage when we get back from Huntersville. Then I can start on the wing.
Yeah, we'll see what it's going to be like Sunday. They're saying 20 to 27 mile an hour winds with 35 mile an hour gusts.
All right.
Oh, man.
That sounds like the Nats. I think it was 05 Nats.
I'm going to look up the Huntersville forecast right now while we're talking. See what I get.
I guess, today it was windy. It was probably around 15 most of the day. Sometimes we got some harder winds and it dropped back down just before it got dark, probably 10. But it was fairly windy today. Tomorrow's supposed to be about the same, but Sunday is supposed to be horrible.
Well, that'll separate who's the best.
Yeah, that'll separate those that are too scared to fly in the at least one round.
I tell you, Chris Rudd was really putting in some flights today. Holy cow! Since David fixed his airplane, they found something wrong with it there at the Nats, the tail, and now that he's flown for another month, he's really flying it good.
Here you go, George. That's Japanese silk.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that what you're using?
Yes, no, it's something similar, but I before I use Japanese, that is like paper, is it?
Yeah, this is silk. It's cloth. Yeah.
No, I don't know it. Yeah.
Good stuff. I've used a lot of it, man.
Beautiful.
A lot.
Well, guys, I got a long drive in the morning. I'm going to go to bed. I appreciate you having me tonight.
No, you're welcome.
All right, Spark. Good to see you.
How long are you going to be
Hang
gone,
on just
Sparky?
another second. I'll tell you what Huntersville is going to look like.
I'll do
sunny with a high near 74 Friday, and that's where it cuts off. So we'll start with that. I'll look up the
What's
rest.
the wind?
I don't see it yet. This doesn't go far enough into the future. I'll look it up later, and so I'll post about the weather when we start getting a little closer to.
Get the flux capacitor on and go up back to the future.
Yeah.
Where are you at now, Sparky? Are you at home or
Dayton?
at work? Oh, you're in Dayton?
Yeah, I'm going home for a week. I'll do a broadcast from my house, but
Right on.
I'll,
How's the airplane? How's the airplane coming?
Fuselage is done. Wing is here.
Oh, that's good. Wow.
It's 5 3/4 ounces. Damn, beating the crap out of it.
Looks nice.
So that proves that you can build from a hotel room or out of town or whatever.
Yeah, my buddy Ron Cribbs builds in hotel rooms. You know, he travels around for the Air Force and works on their navigation systems, and always carries his basic set of tools with him.
I met Ron.
Yeah, I know you did. I think I killed my. Oh, there's my stunt hanger feed. Okay.
Are you gonna wait till you get back home on your regular table though to line the wing and the fuse and all that?
Probably not. I bought a piece of glass, a piece of 3/8 glass, 2 foot by 4 foot. I'll put it on this table and do it right here, wherever I'm at.
Oh, okay.
You got to have a good piece of glass to do alignment on.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if you're taking it back home, but if you got all the stuff there to do it, then
I got a workbench here, and you know, I got everything here that I need to work. This is only a 1-room studio apartment, but you know, I can build an airplane. The only thing I can't do here is paint.
oh, okay.
I don't need to paint here.
You think you can get it into some dope though, or before you?
Do I think I'll get it into what?
Just get some dope on the wood and start getting the silk span on it and stuff like that.
I'll do that in St. Louis. I won't do that here.
Oh, okay.
I can't paint here. I think the neighbors would probably freak out if they started smelling something like that going on here. They think I have some kind of crack building, you know.
Yeah. Some mad scientist over there. There's that bottle of vodka again. Look at that thing Charles drinking.
Yeah, these guys never smelled anything like that, so I'm not going to put them through that.
He drank half of that in about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're gonna hit it. We got an early start in the morning and stuff, so Monday, hopefully we'll be home, and I'll let you know how stuff went.
Okay.
Take a lot of pictures, Steve.
Yeah, have a good trip and be careful out there on the road.
All right, sounds good.
See ya.
Bye. See ya.
I'm off too, so you guys have a good one.
All
right.
right.
All right, Sparky.
I'll see ya from Stunthangar Central.
Yeah.
Adios.
You gonna be home Monday?
Bye-bye. Yeah, adios.
Tight lines, fair winds.
Yeah, to my friend in Colombia, buenos suertes.
Gracias, igual para ustedes. Buena suerte.
Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Good luck.
The official stunt hanger sign off.
Yeah.
Right.
See ya.
Okay, Terry, you can come back now. Yeah, I hope he does, because I'm interested to talk more about my cardinal and his cardinal. But yeah, I started a build thread on Stunthangar too. It's called my winter build. Rodak cardinal.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And I had been putting bits and pieces of it over in the "What did you do in your shop today" thread, but I build so slowly it gets too spread out that it's not good for just documenting what I'm doing and asking questions and getting answers. So I went ahead and started. And Cox Engine Forum, I also always post a full-blown thread in there. Here comes Terry.
I'm back.
Hey, Terry.
I'm back. Hey, listen, I want to say this publicly. If there's no room and there's more guys that need to get on, don't effing eject me like I'm doing bad stuff, because it gives me a bad score on YouTube. And I know YouTube inside and out. And I find it rude, and I am very objective. Last week, I was really hurt because not only was I ejected from the video, but it was blocked from public view, so I couldn't find the Stunthangar even to watch it. So that's all I got to say on that.
And now what
I'll give you room. I'll give
gives
room.
you the idea to take it personally that somebody in the deep cellars of YouTube decided
listen, I know, listen, I don't want to get into it now.
Okay.
I love all you guys. I love Sparky the most. I'm sending them all Terry's love feeling.
I'm not
Bro
your favorite.
love. Oh, certainly you are, but you know, I'm putting the love where it needs to go. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got my my fuselage to this stage.
Let me click on
I got the. Let's see here. I should here. Let me get some better lights on here. Oh yeah. Anyway, here we go. Okay, is that better?
Other than I can't see you.
Now I see a rack of tools on the wall now. There we go.
There we go. So I've got the tail ready to go on, and let me show you a little Terry's tip on this. I've got the tail built, and I've shaped it and hardened the edges up with CA and stuff, you know, where it would break out.
Right.
And then what I do is I take a little pin drill and I drill holes in about 1 inch in the bottom of the rudder, and I also do it where it goes onto the fuselage, and I mark it very good with a red, I use those little red felt tip pins. And then the other little trick is I have these surgical pins. You've seen these?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Hobby Lobby. Well, I have it so that I drill one of the holes, hold on, completely through the rudder, so that when I put it on, it holds it in place. Now, the secret with these holes is this. You use your slow 30-minute epoxy, and you apply to the fuselage and the rudder or the fin assembly, and you keep rubbing it with, you know, massaging it in with your hobby knife, and it'll absorb down in those holes. And you keep applying it. You might have to sometimes mix 2 small batches, and you haven't assembled it yet. And just once you get all the holes are filled and you get just a light shine on each piece, you wait till it almost kicks off, because you guys know if you've got epoxy that's at that super sticky stage, if you stick it to its like kind, I mean, it's there, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So now you stick it together. You check it with your angles and your squares. You use that pin to anchor it, and those little screw, those holes that you drilled, become like rivets, and they strengthen the tail like you wouldn't believe. And we've used this on our gliders for the T-tails, because the T-tail is great, but it's a very hard thing to engineer without building it so heavy. You know what I mean?
So you basically got a little tiny rod of epoxy.
Correct.
Up and down through the holes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
See, and you keep them so gravity is your friend, and you can wait the full 30 minutes. Wait for it to and you'll be surprised, because what happens, of course, everybody knows this, when you mix epoxy, right before it starts to go off, it's exothermic. It's creating its own heat.
Yeah.
And right before it kicks, it gets hot and gets very viscous.
And
that's why when you make your fillets, you got to make them a little stiffer than you want, because once it goes off, you know, it could run on you. So I keep the plane moving. I watch for it.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it and smell it when it starts to go off, depending upon how much you do, because you know, I've used that epoxy light stuff and it's okay, but I find I have better control using either 5, 15, or 30-minute epoxy, micro balloons, Cabosil, and Flox, and or balsa dust that I get off my Dremel sander.
I do the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's sweet. It just works sweet.
It's a good tip.
Yeah, it is good. I will add that to my list of things to try on this build. I always like to try new things on every build, so
well,
that's a good one.
Listen,
I have not built my tail yet.
If I told you that, even though, you know, I don't practice a stunt pattern, but I'm starting to practice it. I've already kind of told Charles I'm started.
Good.
I mean, I've been doing the maneuvers for years, but I just kind of do like Wally's son. I kind of put them in, you know, I can feel the energy in the airplane, and I'm not going to put it into a vertical 8 if I don't have the energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit,
Anyway.
I will watch.
Hey, listen, I used to too, and that's why I build the tails this way, because it can take listen, I land upside down a lot because you can save the plane landing upside down. Everybody's worried about landing upside down. Just forget it. The tail's easy to build.
Yeah, absolutely. I have learned that the hard way.
Oh, well, that's what I'm talking about. Hard way experience.
Yeah. You want to land inverted because you'll be able to just dust off the plane and fly it again.
You said it.
I lose line tension and you want to get
my
upright.
Sons, I used to accuse my sons of going inverted too early. They get into, usually when the motor quits, and you know, I guarantee it was easier and better to do it inverted, but you know, I would tell them, you should have gone for it. I'd have repaired it. He goes, no, because 2 minutes and you're flying it again.
Right.
You know, especially a ringmaster. I mean.
Hey, Terry, you want to lock onto my picture and you can see what I've
very
done
nice.
with the nose of mine.
Very nice.
Yeah, it came out all right. There's the tail wheel assembly. It's just taped on. It's not glued on yet. And so it looks like everything's fitting up pretty well. You see that wing plug I got back there? I used it to align the doublers when I glued them in place with a little wax paper so they didn't stick.
Very nice.
That way there's no ridge that I have to sand off around around where the wing has to fit in. But I was thinking that
do you have any 16th inch, like if you have any 16th inch balsa, let me see if I can get that in there. Do you see how I have the lines drawn? Because I did my reinforcing with the herringbone balsa picked up after the engine doubler, okay? I don't know if you can see that. But then I cut the canopy out, and then I ran that line down to the top of the stab, and the rest of it isn't reinforced, and it's going to give it kind of a, other than reinforcing, I mean, I showed Charles the other day, I had this between these blocks. I only had one side done. And man, that is solid, and it weighs nothing. So
yeah, it's a good idea. Very good.
But you know, and then you sand most of the weight at the tail, so you don't need to take it back till maybe an inch before the stab. You know, you can kind of do away with it there.
Is that about where you start tapering, just before the stab?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. And, you know, I've never had one of these airplanes come out where I haven't had to add a little bit of tail weight. And I would rather have the tail weight be in reinforcement for the stab, a good tail wheel attachment so that your stooge doesn't weaken it. You know,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many wrecks I've seen with tail wheels failing, not the stooge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The guy
that's
gets
scary.
halfway out to the lines, and there it goes. And I hear, "Look out! Here comes this plane." Listen, it's not. Listen, that's danger, man.
Boy,
Oh,
you
yeah.
never.
Yeah. That's why I even
And they
stay-
keep going. It's amazing. They keep going. Yeah. Yeah, I have a stake on mine. I have
take
mine
it
over
down.
a stake. Yeah. I have those pink, bright orange twist-in tent stakes. You use them in Florida to go in the sand. So I use those a lot. And you can see it. It's more visual, too. You can see it
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
And I have a couple pieces of that caution tape, that yellow caution tape you get at Home Depot. Anywho, I don't want any trouble from the locals. And I did some new lines this afternoon. In fact, I made some lines for two buddies. They actually came and traced out my handle. I was real happy to let them do it.
Wow.
And yeah, well, you know, they just couldn't go the $40. They're not sure they're going to like it. And I mean, how much is it to make a handle? I mean, seriously, you know.
Yeah, it just takes time. to do it.
Make a handle
well,
out of scrap parts.
So I've got legal lines, boys. I've got legal lines.
Legal lines. Very good, Terry.
70. I'm at 70. I'm at 70. Okay. I've got 60, 62, 65, and 70.
Right on.
Very good.
So I plan to do the my new Ringmaster with that Evolution 36 on the 64s. Does that sound about right?
You're there.
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
I can always shorten them. Okay.
I always start at 60 feet with everything.
Good. Well, that's why I'm here to get your advice.
That's why I'm on with 58s, and I can't
Yeah.
imagine going longer. But then again, 25s. So
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
flying a Ringmaster or something, 58 would be, I would start with 58 on that too.
my dad likes to use 60 to 62s, but he's using a Fox 35. But I mean, at the 25 Fox, I don't know. He's your own. He'll learn one day when he pancakes.
Yeah.
It happens sooner or later.
Yep.
Most times sooner.
And when he does, I'm gonna be like, "I told you so," and he'd be like, "Boy, I used to fly in the 70s. I flew combat. Don't try to tell me." And I'm like, "Well, you just cracked, asshole. I mean,
You sound like my kid.
I don't know nothing apparently."
Looked like Daryl put up some Ringmaster Fly-a-thon videos. I haven't had a chance to look at
Yeah,
them.
nice.
though.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, one of them, he almost bit it on the first flight.
Oh,
Came out low in a loop. I mean, like, woo.
poor Daryl.
His
Is it possible-
reflexes are getting pretty good though.
Yeah.
Hey, Rusty, is it possible to show a video? I got this funniest video. I don't want to give it away, but it is so funny. I'd like to share it with you guys.
Share screen it.
I'm
Here,
ready.
check this out quickly before I put this down. Rusty, I modified the, I don't know what landing gear you've decided on. But
I'm going
using-
with wing mounted.
Okay. I was going to do wing mounted on this, but I've got, my buddy has the mold for the carbon gear, and he bought
Yeah.
samples, and I said, get me a few sets. Now I want you guys who are on right now, all you guys now, including Gerald, to get me your addresses because Christmas is coming.
All right.
Christmas is coming.
While we're talking about that,
But I've
on mine,
reinforced that with laminated ply, and then I'm just using the aluminum,
yeah,
the aluminum gear, And I moved mine forward a little bit.
You'll like that. You're
That
running
looks
it
good.
back.
Yeah, I'll show you I can show you the balance with the engine in it and the tail on. It sits engine down, but if I take the little unattached tail off, it drops. It
Yeah.
drops to the nose. So you got to balance them.
since I'm not using fuselage mounted gear, when I filled the little 3/8 by 1/2 inch plug that the landing gear support block goes in. I filled it with balsa instead of the hardwood. I figured that would be less of a stress riser.
Yeah, I actually filled mine with that micro balloon mixture.
Yeah,
balsa wood, micro balloons, and slow cure, and it was real thick. You know, I was pushing it in with my thumb, but like I say, when you get, especially in and that's not a real large volume, but it's sort of like a pinky finger size hole.
Right.
But that'll generate enough heat so that when it does go off, you can sometimes smell it, but you'll see it. It gets real shiny on the top. And I just take a little piece of wax paper in my thumb, and you can smush that down.
Yeah.
When it's in that kind of plasticine state right before it hardens.
Yeah, that'll be a fine support. That'll work great.
Yeah.
But I figured in my case,
balsa's
would
fine,
be less of a stress riser, so it
absolutely
matches the fuselage wood.
I've actually drilled, not in this one, but in the, I wanted to build this one other than the lamination of the 16th inch herringbone and the metal tuning fork motor mount. I want it pretty stock because, you know, I just want to keep it stock. When I get there, I want to be able to pass the pull test, and I'm putting in an arrow shaft tube in the outboard wing so I can stick a screwdriver through it, and they can pull on that son of a bitch all day long. In fact, I could probably pull a car with it. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to keep the wing stock other than that, but I may do the adjustable weight box in the tip so I can not only adjust the amount, but I can move it 4 1/2 to about 1 inch.
That's interesting.
Okay,
yeah,
half inch, a 1/2 inch forward, 1/2 inch back.
Yeah.
And I played with it a little bit on my big Voodoo, custom Voodoo thing on the LA-46. And, you know, like Charles is right on with this. It's a transverse relationship. So if the weight goes forward, the lines have to go back, you know. It's about that simple, but to get the happy medium, and last time I flew it, I was trying the extremes, like putting the lines forward and put all the weight forward, you know, and you can still fly it. In fact, it really handles the wind like that, but you're not able to turn real sharp corners. It won't do it. But I can fly during wind that I didn't think I could fly through before, and it didn't even affect the glide. I did have a lot of loop in the lines that I kept thinking, but it just kept gliding. But I think the lines were pulling it in closer because I could see the curve in the lines.
The weight of the lines was doing it, yeah.
But they weren't dropping any, and I had solid feel, and my son was able to catch it. And I had to climb up into the wind to kind of gauge so that, you know, I didn't want to overfly him or have it moving too fast where he couldn't snatch it.
Yeah. Well,
he had to come in on it.
Floats when the engine turns off. It's got a lot of wing area, and it can float too much, and you can blow a landing until you get used to it and know it's going to do it.
Yep.
Hey, Terry, you know,
George is holding something up for us. What are we looking at there, bud? Oh.
What is that?
Spool.
You know
very nice. Yes. Oh, that's a nice one.
Let me show you.
Yeah, show me.
It's a line winder. Very cool.
Yeah, look at this. You make this motion, no? And the lines come to roll the lines.
Yeah,
they go perfectly on the spool, no kinks. Very nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. That wire, that is very interesting.
Yeah, I've got some kind of corkscrew, but mine doesn't have a guide on it. That's nice to have a guide for it.
I'm gonna make one of those.
Let me show you. This is a PVC.
What kind of spool is that, Jorge?
Excuse me?
What
This
kind of
for-
spool? I want to
Looks
see
like
the
a
spool.
Brodak spool.
Oh, it's got a big hole in it.
yes, it's product.
Can you raise it up a little bit,
Yeah, it's a
Jorge?
Brodak.
Can't see it.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's same.
Yes. Do you see the PVC tubes?
Yeah.
The union?
Yep.
Yes, you put the roll over here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sweet.
And then through the guide.
Yep. I'm going to do it.
Then you're
I'm
able
gonna build one of them
Yeah,
too.
I can't tell you how many times
God
I've been
bless you,
rolling them up
Jorge.
at
I've
one
got to
time.
go to Home Depot anyway with the wife, and I'll get this stuff, man.
Yes, and this is a
Awesome.
place for this piece of wire inside
Very
of this.
nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, no, get out
Now
of here.
you got me totally. Listen,
It's complete.
Oh, wow.
Jorge, make a drawing of that and send it to Model Airplane News, and you will win the year's contest. You get like the free magazine, you get kits, you get all kinds of stuff.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Air Age
Last
Publishing,
time I went,
Palm City, Florida.
South
last
America.
time I went, la subscription in Moiler plane, the Moiler planes with the canopies, with the plastic canopies. Instead of to cut the excess with a razor, you put a piece of sandpaper, and you brush your cabin or your fiberglass piece.
Yeah, see?
Excess material. Espero me entiendas que tú hablas español. This is easy to build. I will.
Yes, I see that. Very nice.
That thing's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool, Jorge.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one of them for next summer. I'll tell you that.
I'm going to have one by tomorrow afternoon.
Those tips coming,
I mean,
Jorge.
I'll have the
That's awesome.
pieces. I'll have the pieces. I've got spare spools.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
My handle keeps coming unscrewed halfway down the lines. Have to stop and screw the handle back in.
Yeah, happened to me too. That's because my handle wasn't concentric.
Yeah.
I had to go to my machinist friend, and he put the whole concentric. Then it stopped happening.
Yeah.
Well, I've made a little drawing of this. You got a screw cap on the end. Then you go to the PVC, the size of the spool hole, and that goes into a coupler. And then you've got the bigger piece of PVC in the backside of the coupler going to a plug-in. And you got the wire coming out with the corkscrew. I got it, man. And it stores in the handle. I love it.
Yeah. Very easy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's way awesome.
What you call South American ingenuity.
Man, I guess that's good thinking, man.
Listen, Jorge,
cool.
just do a little drawing and submit it. I can send you the address. I mean, well, you should have Model Airplane News in South America. I know it's down there. It's in Spanish. I know it is. Because it's published in 11 foreign countries. I mean, in 11 different languages, I should say.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Air Age Publishing. Nice people. Nice people.
That's awesome, man.
That's way cool. That's all
Do you guys remember RCM magazine?
Oh,
Rusty,
yeah.
do you remember
Yeah,
that?
I love that.
Yeah, man, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
And the magazines were thick, and they were full of plans and building and kit reviews.
And girls on the front.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, which
Tell me about it. I
is
love
a
it.
complete farce because you never see these girls hanging out around model airplanes except on magazine covers.
I got to meet Ken Willard before he passed, and what a gentleman he was. And
Right
I was
on.
telling Charles about the kitty wake. I built several of those. In fact, my friend is we just did some enlargements. When we get hurricanes, some of my friends and I, we sit down, we push our slide rules, and we take the drawing pads out, and I draw on graph paper. Charles was asking about how do you scale plans. I use graph paper. You don't have to, but it makes it light years
I do
easier.
too. I buy
Yeah.
11 by 17
Wait.
graph paper.
Absolutely, and I have to patch it together and
Quarter squares.
For my wife actually got me a roll, and that's
Roll,
the
wow.
best.
I wish I had a
But,
drafting board. That would
I
be
got
great.
a beautiful
thing to-
table. Listen,
Agreed.
I'll sneak you guys in the house. My wife doesn't want me filming in there, but I've got a drafting table in my den. I got a.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I'm addicted to building these top flight P-47s. I'm addicted.
Oh man.
I'm telling you, they're so listen, this company, these guys at Great Plains, if you're a concerned builder and you get back to them and you say, you know, this part didn't fit quite right, the next one comes out because they're all laser cut. They don't have to make 1,000 kits right now, you know. They improve and they correct their stuff. Even need to take sandpaper out until I get out to the garage before I glass it. And I'm glassing every one of these. And I've got this glass cloth I'm getting from Fiberglass. It's not cheap, but, you know, what's the plane worth, you know? It's like pantyhose. It's two weaves that are biaxial to each other. It's like a triaxial cloth that's two layers that are biaxial, if you can relate to that. All I know is it's light and it builds a bulletproof wing.
Yeah, with cross weave like that, I bet it is strong.
Oh, it's unbelievable. But the problem is, I was, you know, somebody let Sparky know to go to fiberclass.com, or I'll send Charles or Wally the link or the ad. You know, I had to buy a bunch of, I had to kind of con some of my glider buddies into this, and we hadn't tried it yet. But that's all we use on our wings, man. And we are building, I still like wood and, you know, heat shrink covering gliders. I still like those. But
yeah,
for this DS stuff, we're doing the blue foam. We're hot wiring them. I've got a feather cut machine, which is another fine piece of equipment. I've got some nice vacuum equipment. I have a mile that we lay up. The first thing you do on that Mylar sheet, color and the graphics for your wing. And then you lay up your cloth and stuff on that. And that goes into the wing saddle that has the core in it. And you've already done all your work in the wing core by installing conduit, which is plastic drink straws to pull wires through, or, you know, or pull wires in with drink straws, or run your wires in the wing. I just run wires in mine, but you never know, you know, if problems come up, you may want to have to pull the wire out of the wing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you do all that first, then you put your two halves on, which is your wing skins, and you put them back in the cradles and you put them under vacuum. Well, you bag it, you put them under vacuum, you put them in the cradles, and then we weight the cradles from the top with just some old barbell weights, the 20-pounders. And man, that builds a wing that can take like 20 Gs.
Man.
Well, you've seen dynamic soaring, right? I mean, it holds the RC speed record. It's over 550 miles an hour right now.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get off here.
All right, Frank.
Okay. We'll
All right,
see you later, Frank.
Good seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Next,
Keep the
next time.
good work going on that there.
Yeah, that eaglet's looking beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time you see it, it'll probably be covered.
Excellent.
All right, talk to you later.
All right.
See you
See you.
later. Hey, Terry,
Anyway,
you know, last time we were talking, I was listening to you, and you probably didn't realize this, but you had mentioned on your engine pads, the aluminum engine pads, you drill the holes first.
Yes.
You know? And I was putting new engine pads when I put my Striga back together. I had to make new pads because the holes were different. And so I drilled the holes first, and then I shaped it around that. And I was like, I should have known that.
Wasn't that easier? just a bit. Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to spend so much time shaping the rectangular blank and then try to drill a precise hole.
Yeah.
Screw up, cut a whole new one, get it all precise and beautiful, misdrill again, you know.
Yep.
Over and over again.
You know, when I
then
had the luxury, like on this engine mount here, this is one of the tuning fork mounts. This is in the Cardinal. I have some of that tool and die layout dope. Okay, I have that, and I do use that when I cut the metal sheets out of the stock or the basic parts. But when I'm in the airplane, I don't like using that tooling die because that stuff, man, if you get that on your fingers, your skin has to wear away. Seeing it. So what I use is, my wife always is buying new nail polish. I just went into her big box and I grabbed this blue one. And I just do 2 coats on there. And then I set my engine on there and I take like a pin and you just scratch the hole. Now, I only do that one hole. I get the engine and you want to hold it and check, you know, you got your reference lines, especially on a profile. You want to line up your case line, you know, get it balls on perfect.
I need to draw reference lines now before I proceed.
Mark that first hole and drill that first hole. And what I do is, now I'm drilling through the aluminum. So I use that starter bit to get through the aluminum. And then I go to the size of now this is important, the size of the shank of the T-nut.
Right.
I always countersink my T-nuts with these Brad Point drill bits that you get at Harbor Freight. You get a pack for like $6. Great. They don't tear balsy if you go slow. Or if you know the area you're going to drill, you can poke some pinholes just around the outside of the circle. You hit it with thin CA. You can cut a clean hole like you wouldn't believe. And you know where I learned that? I learned that Wednesday from an 8-year-old Cub Scout that reminded me of me.
Holy crap.
I just introduced him to the glue a week before. Okay? I'm telling you, man. I love it. I love it.
He's already exceeding his mentor.
It's a give and take, man. And when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you rot. I'm growing.
Yeah. There we go. That's right,
baby. I'm green. But get that nail polish, and then it comes off real easy with just a little acetone. Or if you don't have any, just use your wife's nail polish remover.
Yeah.
But drill the first hole and get that mounted. Now, I drilled the entire hole through the aluminum plate and the wood of the shank of the T-nut. Now, the shank is the part that surrounds the threads. Okay?
Right.
And you even want to take your hobby knife after you countersink down just a little through the plywood. See, that plywood is not good for compression, Rusty. You know that. It's not good.
In fact, I was making sure that I was talking to Wiley earlier about drilling to mount the engine, and I always sink the holes through the doubler first so I don't splinter them, and then actually the face of the threaded insert will be flush with the beam and not the doubler. You want to go a 6 deeper.
And here's the deal with going with that larger hole. You want that shank, you know, I kept calling it the barrel and this and that, and Ron from Dubro, and I've met Ron 2 times personally and 1 time, 2-3 times on the phone. He knows who he is, whatever. He said it's a shank. Okay, because I think of a knife used in prison. I don't know. Too many James Cagney movies. Anyway, you want that part to slip into the wood without spreading it or forcing it.
Right.
Because when you crank it down, you're going to get those teeth, and they don't have to be fully seated into that wood. In fact, it's better if they're not. And then what you're going to do, you're going to fill that once I get everything together, before I put the blind nut in, you mix up a teeny bit of like 2 drops, 1 drop of resin, 1 drop of hardener of 30-minute, 3 drops of isopropyl, mix it with your palette knife, and I just take and I pour it down the hole.
You know what I use?
I have my finger on the aluminum side.
Yeah.
I just pour it, and it'll all just wick in. And then I take and I push the thing in.
I use Minwax polyurethane to do the same thing.
Yep. Minwax works good for sealing, but it doesn't give anything to compression strength. And when you put that thinned epoxy down in that enlarged hole, it'll penetrate the wood. And now you got this, your threads aren't going to be rubbing on that wood. And believe me, that makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference.
That's funny. I used to use epoxy and I switched to Minwax. Now I'll switch back to epoxy.
Well, I still use the Minwax. It's a great product.
Yeah.
And
I drop it in any tiny little holes like the elevator
Smart
horn,
advice.
everywhere that any kind of oil might.
Smart advice. Yep. That's
Use a toothpick to put a lot of it in, and you know, the tiniest places.
Yep, it's good stuff. And you can also dip plastic canopies in it, right, Wally?
You can.
Clear.
You can.
I mean, some of the older kits, you can't get the sheen you need, so you got to buff them down with your sanding sticks, and then you dip them in the clear. Usually 2 dips, man, and you can't believe how clear it is.
I do it all the time.
I hear you. Well, I've seen your work, man. I got a lot to learn from you. That's all I can say. You do beautiful work, Wally. And I can tell you, listen, I'll tell you guys this. I've told some of you this privately. I've said this to Sparky. I am not going to blow smoke up your rear end. I'm not that kind of person. Now, I will do this. This man who's one of the father of the son who told me the trick about pre-hardening the outside the hole before you drill it with a brad point bit in the balsa so it won't tear out with thin CA. His dad just built a Ringmaster, and it's an ARF, and he did a good job on it. But yeah, he did a great job on it. He did a great job on it because it's his first one, and I made sure that he was complimented on his work.
Sweet.
Good. Yeah.
But and here's something else. One of my goals is to bring more young people into this hobby because there just don't seem to be moving over. And I'm going to tell you that one of the stumbling blocks is this. We need to introduce some kit building to people and forget about the dope and tissue because it's not going over. These mothers are not going to let that stuff come in their homes. There is no way. Yeah. No way. And we need to just I'm going to do some Terry's tips. I'm coming out with them on my own. And because there's no censoring on my channel. Except we're not talking about the woman of the year.
I got to go get a shot of coffee. I'll be right back.
I got to get a shot of caffeine too after that. That was great.
Hey, Terry, for some reason your image is just frozen.
Oh, is it? Is it frozen now?
Yeah, you're just like.
The connection for everybody has been kind of wonky all night long.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so I couldn't see what you were saying earlier.
Oh, I'll review all of these tips for you on a 1-to-1.
All right, man, sounds good.
And
but I'm really happy with the way the Striker came out, Terry. I'm glad. Everything went
smooth, right?
Perfect. I mean, I've never had that much success.
I'm so glad I was able to share when those bolts went in because I know you were hopeful.
Yes.
I knew it was going to fit. I told you it'll fit.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it made such a difference. It's like I can't wait to start putting more engines in planes.
Well, that's just part of it. Yeah, it's just part of it. It's
Yeah,
just little
so
tricks.
awesome.
You've got tricks that I can use. You just share them. See, the thing
Yeah.
that I'm learning, you know what helps me with teaching kids is that I don't, I try not to forget anything. Now, who was that Mike that has the eaglet?
That's
Eaglet
Frank.
50?
No, Frank.
Oh, Frank. I'm sorry. Sorry, Frank. I don't know if you're familiar with the Mark Smith design. He did this wind-free sailplane in the late 60s, 100-inch wingspan, you know, no polyhedral, nice big straight wings, nice airplane.
Right.
He used these elliptical lightning holes in the rectangle tapered fuselage. You know, it was rounded with, triangle stock and so on. But I find little things around that allow me to do circles. One of the kids asked me in the glider because we basically ran out of those Spirit 2-meter kits. So I just, once you know the numbers, come on, so I drew out some stuff and ran up and we just stack cut a bunch of stuff on a bandsaw, So I had the kids cutting out and tracing their lightning holes. And here's one that I use. Can you see that?
Yeah.
No, you're frozen.
This is.
I can see.
Oh. Well, it's the
frozen on my end.
Yeah. It's the inner cap of a right guard deodorant. That oval cap. It's got a great little handle on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have that in my common parts little thing here that I use when I'm building.
Okay.
And
yeah, I can't see it, but you can show me later.
Well, I'll show it to you. I'll show you. Yeah. And if you don't have a set of French curves, those are a good investment also.
Yeah, I have French curves.
Yeah. I use mine all the time.
I use them.
Yeah. But that's it. That's about all I got on this end. But teaching these kids, man, it is it's so rewarding.
It is, but the problem is finding the kids that have the interest to want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a real big scout troop here, and let's say maybe there's 125 kids. We've got a baker's dozen. We got 13, which is a lucky number for me. And today's the 13th.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
It's all good. Speaking of tips,
I just found out I'm getting a Christmas present.
You are.
You are.
You're getting a new engine.
No, send the addresses, gang. You see what's going on here.
One tip that I just remembered today I want to share with you before I forget is how sometimes when you're taking off and you're rolling your plane out and sometimes some planes will leap into the air. Sometimes it's because you have the plane where it rolls out of the circle. And so what happens is the plane's trying to get out, the line's pulling it back, the end result being the plane leaps in the air. Some people are struggling to try to get a nice smooth takeoff, and their plane keeps leaping in the air is because their plane is rolling out the circle. Some people will try to maybe get the plane to roll straight, which is pretty good. But even a slight coming in, I mean, ever so slight, not a lot, obviously, but ever so slight, and your takeoffs will be much better. They won't just leap into the air.
That's a good tip.
It is a good
tip. I usually put the tight, one wheel always spins a little looser than the other. I always put the tight wheel on the outboard side to make it point out a little bit.
Yeah.
But now I'm not sure I understand which way you're saying, Charles. You're talking about having it so it wants to turn out or so it wants to roll straight while it's taking off.
You want it to roll in towards you just a little bit, ever so slight.
So it doesn't pull on the lines.
Doesn't pull on the line. I mean, it pulls, but the centrifugal force is going to take over anyways because of the speed of the engine.
Well,
but most people think.
Not only that, you have a P factor there too.
What, Wally?
not only that, you have the P factor there too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
the
so that's what I was.
propellers trying to pull out. You know, my problem with takeoffs, you know, and like you and Rusty, I'll watch you, and you guys have really nice takeoffs.
Thank
My
you.
takeoffs in the grass, I take off with a lot of up with my elevator because I want that thing out of the grass as fast as I can get it. But
Yeah,
so
unless you
I
got
don't
close
have a
crop
long
grass,
runway. Yeah, but
you're safe.
the problem I have, and it's hard for me to think about this when I'm out there, is, you know, most of the time I'm flying off my stooge, and my stooge, as long as my airplane is straight in line with the stooge arms will come down and the airplane will take off just fine.
Right.
I like to pull hard on the handle. And it's just,
Yeah.
that's the way I've always been. I like to pull hard on the handle. And sometimes I pull hard enough that it twists the airplane a little bit. It'll pull the wheels into me a little bit. And when it does that on the smaller airplanes, when my arms come down off the stooge, it'll like get caught on one of the flaps, on the inboard flap. And that messes you up. Sometimes it'll even catch the airplane. But if the airplane is straight, the stooge comes down and the airplane takes off fine.
Right, right.
But if I'm pulling hard on that, that's, you know, and that's the biggest problem I have for getting out of that habit, because I've been, you know, when you learn how to take an airplane off when someone's holding it, they can hold the airplane straight until you give them the sign to go. And you're pulling hard on the lines. And then it takes off. But my takeoffs are lousy because the way I learned how to do it years ago, and the way I still like to do it with my habit of pulling on the lines. And I really, the last few times I've been out, I've really had to force myself just to barely get the lines tight, and that's good. You leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I take off of a good flying surface, I keep my lines droopy while I'm taking off. I don't let them touch the ground, but I just apply as close to zero and just let the plane roll, and it'll gradually come up to flying speed and turn out on its own. And then you gotta be quick to ease into adding some down without making the plane bobble, and then just hold it down. If you take off with everybody disagrees on this, but I like to take off for judges with a slight cross tailwind and then coming around. So instead of directly downwind, if I'm out in a grass field, I take off straight downwind. But if I got judges watching me on a good surface, I back up around so the plane has no lift at all when it first starts rolling. Then it's got inertia, so that chops through the first of the lift, and then you can hold it down and bring it around to 5 feet easier.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I got you locked in here,
If I
Jamie.
was in a contest, I'd be in trouble right off the start.
Well, you know, as just one maneuver out of 15.
Yeah. But then, you know, like me, I go over, and because I've had so many neck operations, I can't lift my head. There's over half of the airplane, you know, well, it's from a 45 here to about a 45 here. I can't even see the airplane. I'm just feeling it because I can't get my head back far enough to see that.
Yeah, I can't follow it through a vertical 8 anymore.
I'm just feeling it and hoping that the airplane's coming over straight and in line with where I want it to go to do my wing over. And the wing overs are usually pretty good. They're a little high usually, in fact, a lot high sometimes. But, you know, it's a matter of how you get the airplane over to stay in line right over your head. And like I haven't been in a contest, so I really don't worry about that. And my overhead 8s, I don't even worry about doing an overhead 8 anymore because I can't get my head far enough back. I do my vertical 8s, and the top 8 is a little lower than what it's supposed to be because it's not clear over the top of my head. You know, it's like my top
I tend to fly them out front too.
Right there.
I tend to fly them out front too.
So, you know, those are points you're going to be missing.
Right.
But so if you're a judge and you go, well, this guy's all messed up. He's been operated on 20 times, which I have 20 times.
Wow.
So how do we judge this guy that he's a basket case, you know?
You judge what the pattern looks like.
Yeah, well, the thing is they judge off the pattern that's on the sheet.
Right.
And so I would miss that pattern big time because I can't do those maneuvers overhead like that.
Yeah, it might happen. You know, all depends. You know, where you can go. You know, like in Southern California, they don't mind if the maneuvers are big, but up where I'm going next week, they got to be, you know, the tighter the better. You know.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, they have less allowance for it being, and I tend to fly big. But when you fly big, you know, your rounds can be real nice and smooth and round and not egg shaped and not.
You're not doing quick corrections. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just. I mean, I judge myself. I judge intermediate and below, and I just judge rule book. You know, it's not. You know, it's just what I try to do when someone asks of me is just to be consistent. That's all they care about. The contest director, all he cares about, he doesn't care about your scores.
I think that's a good way to score it. I think that's real good.
Your scores to be consistent.
Well, yeah,
so
consistent when you do your the centers on, say for instance, you're doing a horizontal eight. You start here and you go your loop, you're inside, then you come over here, and then you do your outside loop. You want to be consistent here where they meet. And
no, Wally, you misunderstand me, Wally. Well, Wally, I'm talking about as a judge when I put down the number, the score.
Oh,
my scores need to be consistent.
Oh, I got
in other words, whatever I determine is a 30 score of a loop, that I should be consistent. That if someone else does that same kind of loop, they get a 30 score or 40 score, whatever it is. But I'm consistent that way. That way the best person wins.
I don't have
the score is kind of irrelevant as long as I'm consistently, you know, scoring that same number for that same type of maneuver. And that's all I've been asked as a judge.
Experience judging yet. I've done it in practice judging clinics, but I've never actually done a contest yet.
But so you have
I still feel
I would judge different from you. Say for instance, you got what, 3 judges there?
2.
Just the 2.
Yeah, usually 2.
Okay, so you got
at the Nats you have 5 and stuff, but
say for
local
instance,
contest usually 2.
Say for instance, me and Rusty's judging while you're flying. Now, he could judge on a loose loop, and I'm judging on a tighter loop. You know, how do you get the 2 guys on the same page to judge?
They average our score sheets together. As long as you're consistent and as long as I'm consistent, it matters not.
Okay.
And they average those 2 together because we've only got a certain amount of 40 points to work within. So between 0 and 40, but if you score one certain amount higher and I score the exact same thing a certain amount lower every single time we see it, then ours together will be a quality assessment.
So you take the 2 and you average it out, and that's your score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all ready for this?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Always. Oh, go ahead, Jamie. Sorry.
Yeah, baby.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, that looks nice, man.
Fire cat. Yeah, I had you locked in on camera while you were doing all that, so they got to watch that
nice
rerun.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Looks
nice. Good. Now, how'd you cut your numbers and the wording?
That's I got it from AvioJet. All the graphics from AvioJet on Stunthangar.
Okay. Charles.
Yeah, I like using this stuff. It works real well. It gets a little bubbly at first, but I learned that if you don't even bother to go pop the bubbles, just after a few trips out in the sun and your thumb going around mashing them down, they go down and stay down.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I only got like, I got a couple, I mean, they'll go down eventually, and it's right on the edge, so.
Yeah, a hypodermic
Use
needle.
some
is a lot
Windex
better
under it
than
and you
the
can
sewing
smooth
pin
it
for
out.
doing that.
I
If you
Yeah,
got a
always use
hypodermic needle,
Windex and you can
I
just smooth it out.
treated and cleaned it, and I didn't.
Yeah, I Windex the shit out of it, and then I Windex and put the letters on. You can actually slide them around, float them in position.
Yeah, that's how I
when
do
you
my
put
grab.
those letters
Squeegee the fluid out.
Yeah, that's exactly how
Never
I
get
do it,
bubbles.
Gary.
Mhm.
Well, there you go.
when you're putting those letters down, if you have trouble with bubbles, even in Monocoat, if you can get a hold of a hypodermic needle, that does a extremely neater job of popping the holes without ever being visible.
Yeah, it cuts. It doesn't poke. It cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot
Actually, be very carefully. The tip of a brand new, especially the titanium nitride X-Acto blades will do good too.
Yep.
Too easy to put a big hole in it by accident.
Well,
They'll
there
be
you
all right,
go.
like I said. You sit in the sun, and they'll.
They'll go away quick.
That's an unusual paint job right there, Rusty.
Yeah, it is.
And it looks
What are
good.
you talking about, Ron?
It's different from most of the other paint schemes you see.
Yeah, it's not your average everyday Firecat.
No, I think it's going to look good in the air too, man.
For it being an old time stunt legal plane, I like the old time nostalgic.
Oh, I love it.
That's nice.
It's got it. Yeah, it's got the GB pullback graphics. I love it.
And
good job, James. Good job.
The only thing, if I would do it all over, I would quit dragging ass, and I would have bought Superfill a long time ago, and I would have used Superfill on the fillets because I have no fillets at all. But I'm just ready to fly this damn thing.
When it's flying, you won't notice it.
Oh yeah.
Well, now you're ready for a gas tank.
I'll be back, you guys.
All right, see you, Charles. We're gonna be signing off in about. Oh well, bye, Charles. We're gonna be signing off in about 10 minutes.
So, Wally, what is the thickness of the K&S metal used for the tanks?
8,000, 8 or 9,000. I think it's
okay.
8.
All right, 8 or 9. Yeah, I saw it there today. I didn't know or on Wednesday. I didn't know which one to grab.
Yeah, that's the thinner stuff, man.
All right, I'm gonna get some, and then we'll chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna make tanks. I'll make a pattern, and it'll be a little bit different from the way I made my last tank. It'll have the ends that's on the same piece that has the parts that you bend over 90
Oh
degrees.
yeah, the tabs.
Yeah, so the tabs when you bring it up will match the tank. It'll be easier to solder that way. And well, yeah. I did mine. I bent the tabs on the tank as I was going around, and it was a little harder to do that way. But this way here, I think it will be a hell of a lot better. Well, the biggest thing now is having that one edge that's still part of your tank, where before I just build a whole cap for both ends.
Gotcha.
So it'll work better with, well, still you're going to have a cap on your tubing end, but your tail end you can do is the one piece. The longest piece can be bent 90 to where you can bring it up and then solder around. Them tabs are already pre-bent, so it'll work a little better.
That sounds like a winner.
Yeah, it'll be a little
sounds
better.
Like a winner.
I think I can save a little solder to make it a little lighter doing it that way. There'll be some good tanks.
Well, I could probably get one from Brodak, but I want to build the tank for the Oriental with the 60 in it. I'm going to probably need about 5 ounces, I think, for the 60, maybe 5.5. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I want to be able to get a good stunt run out of it.
You know what? Here's what I think about tanks. You build the biggest one you can, put it in there.
I can do 6 ounce.
And then you just work with
fill it what you need.
Yeah.
That's
what I was telling my son today. I was helping him set up a dyno, And I says, you know, on your tank, you get them big syringes that'll hold 6 ounces of fuel. You can start with 4.5 or 5, whatever you want, and work up to your 6 minutes, and then be done. As soon as you hit 6, cut it off, because most people can do a pattern in 5, 5.25. You know.
Yep.
So 6 minutes is longest you ever need to fly. So you got to figure out your time there on how much fuel you're putting in.
Gotcha. Well, that's, you know, I do that now sort of too. I mean, the that big combat thing that I built for the 46 LA, I think I've got a 6 ounce in there, the big rectangle tank. And it was made for me by one of the old stunt guys who lived around here, who was out past. And that was, you know, I guess Brodak can make them, but if we have the technology as you do, and Charles has been making them, I'm a fast learner, and I love solder. So,
you know, and like I say, we could get them from Brodak. The one I got in my Magnum now is the Brodak Uniflow tank, but there's something that's neat about being able to build a tank. Like my son,
I want to do it.
You know, my son building his great big orange airplane, whatever they call it, like what Charles has there. You know, I made that tank, and I've got another tank that I'm going to put in my Chipmunk that I built too. It's just they're carbon copies of Al Raby's tanks. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Carbon copies of what he does.
Well, he does nice stuff, as we know.
Yeah, and he does good stuff. Now, the biggest thing that I've got to find out is, see, I put the clunks soldered onto the pickup clunk. Well, it's not the clunk is the pickup tube goes through the clunk, and then it takes about a 45-degree bend, and it sticks out a little ways. Okay.
So it reaches the corner of the tank.
It reaches the corner of the tank. So then you put the Uniflow tube in, and I solder it to the clunk. But what I do is I smash a piece of tubing and put it on there first. And what that does is it spaces out the Uniflow tube far enough to where you can put your gas tubing.
Yeah, other tubing. Gotcha.
Yeah, both tubings will fit on there.
Gotcha.
And so anyway, that's the way I did that. And according to what he flies, you know, the one I seen him doing was for his Bearcat. And that Bearcat flew beautiful.
Oh, I've seen it on video. Yeah.
And then he built the critical mass Bearcat. Did you see that? Isn't that
I saw that one too. I've watched all of it. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, I built mine just like he did his. So I got to get my son, which we was talking about today, get the T-Rex out there and fly it, because that's going to be the big test for this style of tank.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to build one for that, and maybe even build one for the car. I'll build this one, you know, and if I have to do 2, 3 to learn it, I don't care.
That's what I did. I mean, you got to do a couple of practices before you get to where this one here is a pretty decent tank. You know, that's one using your airplane.
So where can you get bigger pieces of tin other than the K&S? Well, it's actually brass that's nickel plated or something, right? Or tin plated or what?
I think Brodax.
Yeah, Brodak's got it. I got a big piece of. Oh, I can tell you where I got my last stuff. I got it off of Amazon.
I'll call Brodak because I just ordered something from Cheryl the other day.
Yeah,
I can call them. Yeah,
tell them you just need some gas tank material, and they'll know
material.
exactly
Yeah.
what you need.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
well, there you go. I appreciate it. Yeah,
it'll be 8 or 10 thousandths cut sheet, probably.
Yeah,
a
like
foot square,
K&S makes
like
it, but it's like 4 by 10 inches, and I was thinking it's too restrictive. Yeah, it's too restrictive.
What if McMaster car has it?
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
McMaster car. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. No.
Are you all right, Jorge?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, good.
Learning.
Oh, you had to go back?
I had a fuel tank picture I was going to show, but I got tired of looking for it. My search feature is not working anymore on a Windows taskbar. The little Windows button all the way on the left, when I click it, it doesn't really do an internal search. I have to go to Explorer and search. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it.
I have a question.
It's Trump. He's watching you.
What you got, George?
When you build one profile of this, do you use one piece of wood or a lamination?
Both, just whatever I want to do. I prefer to laminate to, and even put a piece of carbon veil in between them. But if the wood looks really good, the end grain's not too round, then I'll go with the flat board. If it looks pretty straight to start with, straighten it a little with some wind edge.
Here, let me grab my other fuselage. Here, Jorge, look at this. Look at this one.
But you can
Let me
make
turn the light back up.
you can make a good straight one if you laminate 2/4 inch. I mean, 2/4 inch.
Oh, yeah.
Together.
Lamination is the way. And here's
That's how I
this
built my
one.
Yak 9.
And this has the little 16th inch. So I picked up the 16th inch. You can't see it because I sheeted over that with some 1/8 inch, I think. But after the doubler, I pick it up with that 16-inch strips that I strip off just scrap wood with my balsa stripper. And I use the center line. And this, it's not there for the artistic. It gives just tremendous torsional and twisting strength where you're not going to get any twist. I'll put it up against any dope and tissued fuselage, weight to twist factor all day long.
Really? Wait,
No problem.
you think so? I wouldn't have guessed so.
Yep. Well, we'll do it. I'm doing my best to get to Huntersville, and I may arrive in my friend's new motorhome, if not just so we can weigh each other's airplanes. No, I'm coming to fly. I'm coming to fly.
I'll try to remember to throw my scales in the car.
No, I got scales. Terry brings his own.
You got bags too?
I got it all in my flight bag. I'm ready.
All right. Yeah, scales, bags, everything.
Well, you know, when you have a sailplane, you go down to the beach, you're going to slope soar it. The plane is balanced, but you don't know how much ballast to put in to the relative wind. So what you do is you take the plane and you hold it under the fuselage and you kind of let it fly a little out of your hand. If it goes backwards, you got to put more weight. And you want to just start pulling away. Now, if you get too much weight, that's okay. You can still fly. If you don't get enough weight in it, you have a good chance of losing that airplane downwind because you're going to have to keep the nose down to try to penetrate into the wind.
Yeah.
So when I get down to the beach and I've already figured it out for that particular model, my friends will say, "How much ballast you got?" So I know what I've got. I catch the plane, we put it on the scale. I say I'm running this much.
There's a really old book called A River of Air. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, it's a soaring book.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to recommend that. I thought maybe that'd be something you'd like to read.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm a soaring crazy person with RC sailplanes. I just love them. But my wife says the only thing I do is get some exercise and get my tonsils burned because you're like this all the time. You got your hat on, but you're looking up with your mouth open. To the field, now that this 400-foot restriction is over, as they come to the field, and there's 3 of us out there, our transmitters, we're all looking up in one direction, and a guy comes out there and he says, "What in the hell are you guys doing?" I say, "Well," and you don't want to take your eyes off your plane because it's called specking out. We get them up there pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you look away.
You don't want to take. Yeah, you don't want to take your eye off it. But the guy goes, "What?" I said, "Look, don't you see those little? Do you see the orange one up by that cloud?" He goes, "Oh my God, that's it."
Yeah, I never thought of the spectacle itself.
But yeah, it's just fun. And you're using no power. Oh yeah. Oh, is that nice?
That's
I just noticed it. Click it up.
That's Tom Richards' precious metal.
That's a great
precious metal. Beautiful.
That's the colors it was when he bought it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw the plane in Lauderdale when it was owned by the two brothers. Or the three brothers. I can't think of their names.
Burkinellis, I think.
Yeah, yeah. They had it at Fort Lauderdale Executive. It used to be in a hangar. In my past life, I started with two good buddies, a PMA parts company, and we built a lot of parts for PT6 and JT8s. For the 100% replacement parts for like the fuel nozzle sheath gaskets and vane rings. I don't know if you're familiar with those things. Like if the A&P was on here, he'd know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he tried to get on tonight, but he was back at home and he's got terrible internet access down there. So it's getting late, guys.
All right, it's been good, and I won't come on until Mr. Personality gets off.
Who's that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, man.
Anyway, I love you guys. Peace and love, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Truth bears investigation, boys.
Yep.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Multiple shooters. Pollock didn't shoot shit. Okay.
No.
Talk to you later.
Good night, Terry.
We'll see you, man. See you guys.
Good night. Everybody on YouTube and the live video alike, thank you very much. We enjoyed it. And we will see you Monday with tight lines, fair winds, and the standard Stunthangar sign out. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.